We got to do this special YouTube intro. Yeah, there you go. For the viewers, here's another best of 7 decider. Winner here moves on to the main event of Hidden Cup 4. That will be March 18th through the 21st. Main event players will be playing on hero names, so we will not know their identities. And BacT has played in Hidden Cup 2 and Hidden Cup 3, and he's looking to get, well, BacT to a Hidden Cup. Now, Dark is up against him here in the red. And Dark is 16 years old. He was not expected to make it this far. Real underdog story. But yeah, Hallis and I were talking about Franks for Saracens here. You like the Saracens pick for game number 1?
I do. I like the new Saracens because you have a Civ with great versatility, right? With amazing camels. But you also have a Civ that can go for a composition like Arbalest the Camel, which completely annihilates Frank in kind of the mid to like early Imperial Age.
Yep.
So there are definitely timings there. I don't know what you think. Do you think like maybe in Feudal Age Frank are ahead, but later than not?
Yeah, sorry to hop in here. I'm getting excited about it, just thinking about it, because, well, I do prefer Frank Eco because they have the forage bonus and then the farm bonus and all that. I do feel like the mid game there's potential here for Saracens. And before Saracens became kind of a go-to archer civilization, which has been common in the recent meta, I used to always believe that you could use the Saracen market bonus to just sell your gold, buy some food, and just, or sell your stone, excuse me, buy some food and go up to Castle Age a minute or two faster when playing against Night Civs. So in this situation, if you've been watching Saracens over the last year, we don't need to see some type of YOLO archer play from Dark. I think that he could honestly scout open and then just try and get to Castle Age a bit faster. And if you're expecting Franks to go into Knights and you can scout it out, just get some camels on the field and boom it out. It's actually, there's potential here as Dark has really struggled with his Dark Age macro. There's potential here for Dark to do something.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's one of those weird matchups where... Oh, he killed the... Oh,
dude,
yeah.
He must be nervous. This is really bad.
Yeah, this Dark Age has been very sloppy.
Oh my god. Like, both deer were really bad. He shot the first one with oh my god, it's past. He can't call a restart or anything either. This is past 4 minutes. He's screwed. Oh god. Well, anyways, this has been really poor, and now the game plan changes. He shot his boar with his TC. Feels bad, man.
He has lured 2 deers though, so as Leary says, like if you get lamed, all you need to do is lure 1 deer. So if we believe Leary, he should be fine. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's true. I think he could still pull off a relatively solid uptime, but I think everything I've seen here from the deer pushing to that boar there tells me we're actually seeing some nerves here from Dark, because he plays a lot. He probably practiced here. It's not as if like he's 16. It's not like he needs to warm up his hands in the morning. You know, he's ready to game when he wakes up. So yeah, that was just a bit iffy. And BacT is not going to have those problems. BacT on the other side, who we haven't talked about too much. Everything's looking clean, and he'll probably go for 20 population feudal, which is pretty fast and standard for Franks.
Yeah, definitely. One interesting thing is that Dark has already mined 10 gold. I'm not really sure why exactly, because he's not built a barracks yet.
Okay.
So he's not drushing. It's kind
maybe
of weird to mine 10 gold and not do anything with it.
Yeah, maybe he had his villager out there. I think he built the houses, and he just figured, let's just get some resources on the way back, just in case I feel the need to go for a strat. But yeah, weird opening for Dark. Dark is going to be able to pull off a 21 population feudal. It sucks that he lost 340 food like that, but it's manageable at least, though I'd say far from ideal.
Yeah, definitely. And you kind of, if you are going to go, it looks like he's going for scouts. And if you are going to do scouts against Franks, you kind of do want to be up at 20 pop, because obviously having the more HP, like it's very easy to snowball Frank scouts. So he is being a little bit kind of, well, you don't really want to be 21 pop against Franks, honestly.
Yeah. It's also kind of possible maybe he was planning on going for a drush, which is why he got the gold. And then you can't really do that when you shoot your boar down with TC. What are your thoughts on that, man? Are you weakening your boar with the TC nowadays, or are you not doing that?
I think it's really good, and I'm experimenting with it for sure. But I think, yeah, when you're nervous, like it's just another thing that can go wrong, and it obviously has gone wrong here. Right? But I think if you're confident with it and you can do it, then I think most of the time it's fine.
Okay.
I don't know what you think because it just kind of saves some villager hit points really, and it's a bit faster.
As long as you get that rhythm down, like a year ago was complaining because I saw Vivi as this villager could go down back as that scout. But yeah, I saw players losing their boars because of that. And my theory was if you do it correctly, 100 times, but then you fail one time in a tournament, that one time could be the game you lose a set with. So that said, I practiced with it, and here's the stable for Dark, and BacT is being extremely annoying with this, and Dark hasn't even found BacT. And I do like it, actually. It's just, can you execute? It's like anything else, so.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's crazy that Dark hasn't actually scouted BacT yet. I mean, I presume he knows he's going for scouts, but it's almost 10 minutes in. It's pretty late.
And we got Spearman coming forward from BacT. And the honest truth is it's just the players are really close together. And this is all snowballing on Dark real hard right now. He lost his boar, which is already going to set you back. Now we've got scouts and spears on him, and the pressure's on. Eco is never going to be as clean as Frank's anyways. Able to get the scout past the stable from BacT, but maybe not really realizing what the situation is. And I think that scout's going to go down. And this is not start that Dark would have won the series, man. This could be like he's got to keep his head on straight here because losing this game isn't the end of the world. It's just making sure that mentally you're still there after how this has gone so far. If you lose,
yeah, this is he's only 16 as well, right? He's not gonna have a huge amount of experience in these games, and not especially like playing losing your boar early is never gonna help your attitude, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, unfortunately for him, his map is quite open, which you kind of never really want to see against Franks.
Yep.
But he is walling it off now, defending with the Spearman as well.
Yeah, I think what I would do in this position, because a nice quick wall's there. At this point, you realize that you're probably not going to get any counter damage in with Scout Rush because BacT has so much time, he'll probably have walls down. Plus, it's BacT, so he'll probably have walls down. And so at this point, you just play defensive as BacT is running in, and then eventually try and use that Saracen market to catch up. And see what happens here. Here come the scouts for BacT. Yeah, I should get a villager kill there. Dark lose the second villager.
Yeah, it's just sloppy. He was baited. His 3 spearmen were baited well out of position by I think it was 1 spearman.
Yep.
I mean, these are like villager losses that you wouldn't normally see. Like he should never have these spearmen so far away from his villagers. They're just kind of useless at that point.
Actually, 3 eco kills in this game for BacT. And BacT has not really had to invest that much either. And man, sometimes with that attack, the villager's going to head towards the TC. In that instance, it pathed the other way. And so that's 4 villagers killed. And BacT is just like, take me to the main event, please. This looks like a rated game right now. Oh, man.
This is brutal, honestly.
Yeah. This is rough to watch right now. I'm just hoping if this game ends relatively soon, it does feel like BacT should be able to snowball this to a victory. As the villager gets sniped there on the farm, BacT is in great form. But yeah, hopefully Dark will. Well, it can't be worse in the next games, right? We know that much. So.
Exactly. It's only up from here, presumably.
Dude, I can't even imagine because I didn't play anything competitively at 16. I can only imagine the stress I'd be feeling right now. But I mean, what's funny is we're gonna see BacT go for some additional doinks on the farmers here because there's still some weak ones. What's funny is he was playing Leary in some ranked games just the other day, and he took a ranked game off of Leary, which I've never done before, So it wasn't even like Leary was full on trolling or anything. Dark was actually playing really well, so he certainly got the quality. It's just start of the series, it's been all about BacT. It's not like BacT's base was super easy to wall. That's a crap ton of walling right there. He was just never pressured.
Yeah, he was just always on the back foot, right? I don't think he even built a scout. And it's so hard to chase scouts around in your base if you only have a spearman. They just have free reign, essentially.
Yep.
Oh, no. And that's another villager.
Yeah, it should be. Again, I'm loving how BacT is grouping up these scouts because they are kind of weak. And Dark tries to quick wall. Doesn't happen. And Dark's doing exactly what I said I would probably do here. Add the market. It's somewhere out there. Yeah, he has the market. He sold the stone. And honestly, he's on his way up, and he's only 10 or so seconds behind. That could have been way worse for him. Saracens are bailing him out a bit.
Yes, if he wasn't Saracens, he wouldn't be up to Carthage at the same time, but he is also down 3 villages
Yep.
and Wheelbarrow, I presume. So,
Yeah. Well, actually, no. BacT did not get wheel. What in the world then? That's
wait,
weird.
okay, well, BacT must just have idle time then. That's ridiculous.
According to Capture H, BacT has had 40 seconds of TC idle time, which equates to like a villager and a half, I think.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so I guess it kind of makes sense, but yeah, I feel like BacT should have a bigger lead there. He did not get wheel.
How many villages did he kill? About 5 or 6,
Five.
right?
Yeah. And it takes
That's very odd.
I feel like the math isn't adding up here based on what I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I agree. Unless he got Town Watch or something, I can't see how he's not up more villages.
That's true, actually. Can we see? Let's see. That looks like it might be Town Watch. Is it? Is it Town? I don't know. Maybe it's not. Anyways, Hallis, Dark has given himself a chance here. What do you think his approach needs to be here? You think he's got to go like super YOLO, or can he go like super boomy or something?
This is. Oh, he sold his stone to get Castle Age, which is why he's up so quick. So I think that probably answers your question.
Yeah.
Maybe he will be going YOLO. I think honestly, I think it feels worse than it is. He's only down 3 villages. He could just try and play a standard game, right? And if you do get to, imp, and you're not massively behind economically, I think you can compete with Saracens.
Yeah, it's true.
Um,
Yeah, maybe just like stay alive. You obviously get military on the field. I think BacT's approach is going to be fairly standard here. He's adding a second TC and the monastery. This is perfect meta play in this position, in my opinion. Go 2 stables for map control as BacT gets a villager on the farm. Nice little doink, man. That's 6 villagers down. These scouts have got so much value. But yeah, 2 stables for knights. Add some monks behind it to convert any camels, and then go for the boom. That's all BacT needs to do. He's making the right call here.
Oh, and okay, so Dark just let BacT in, and now BacT immediately scouts the 2 ranges, so he'll know exactly what's coming as a follow-up. He knows that, Dark's probably not going to build TCs behind this if he scouts 2 ranges. So, like, what do you do as Dark now? I mean...
I don't want to say call it just yet, but it's like... It's definitely getting to that point where in 5 minutes, BacT's going to have such a big lead. It's going to be unreal. BacT is losing his knight numbers. But he's running home now, and he should be able to get a quick conversion here. Yeah, and that should be a conversion, but it's DE. Okay, no conversion. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really sure about the archery range play, to be honest. I feel like it's just a little bit too slow. I don't know what you think about that.
That is, first off, I commend you for saying that like a caster would, because I know deep down inside you're like, what on earth? Why? I know like there's definitely a more brutal opinion somewhere in your mind, Hallis. And I'm with you, dude. I don't like think about it. He doesn't have any upgrades yet. And then if he was gonna go cav archers, those ranges could have been up before he arrived to Castle Age, so he could at least have some mass right now. And the scouts again for BacT.
Yeah, this is.
Is he gonna get another one too? That one is weak from the woodline.
Yeah, I think he's going back for it now.
Yep, goes back for it and will get... Unbelievable, man. 9 kills. BacT has made this first game look so easy.
Yeah, okay, so cav archers with no upgrades. Oh, more conversions as well? Yeah, this is not looking too hot, is it?
No, you've got the 11 villager lead now for BacT, combined with the eco upgrades, combined with the fact he'll be on 3 TCs in a second. I think, honestly, if I was Dark's coach right now, and, not that anyone can, like, sit in the game and coach you, it's not a thing, but if that was a thing, I would just be like, you know what, play for a couple more minutes, get the jitters out of your system if you can, before game number 2, because, like, clearly he struggled at the start, he didn't do himself any favors with that fail with the boar, he probably realizes after those losses that this should be game over, but just play it out a bit longer, that way when you go into game 2, you might feel better about the situation.
Yeah, as well. The thing is, against Franks as well, right? It's not a civ that you can have a bad feudal age or dark age, really. Like that is one civ that if you have a bad feudal age, that you are just dead. So you can kind of probably understand a little bit, especially with first game. He's got a lot of nerves, probably, at least from what we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only thing that makes me feel like it was nerves was not just the it wasn't even just the boar issue. It was the deer, because I've seen him push deer many times, and the fact that like one time he used one villager instead of two to shoot it and shot it away from the TC,
Yeah,
and then the
yeah.
other one was really far away, and then he failed with the board. That made me think maybe there's some nerves there. So,
Yeah, the thing that made me think nerves was when those three spearmen got dragged away from his base. Like
yeah,
that, if you're doing that, like you're not thinking straight. Like you're not paying attention to the right things, and it was so obvious that he's not really in his element. Like Dark can play so much better than this. Like we
yeah,
know that.
yep. Well, consistency over a best of 7 takes some talent, and so I guess again on the bright side, he's going to have some more opportunities here. And BacT is just snowballing his lead, coming forward to build a siege workshop, and this is what that meta play is able to accomplish, especially when you get 9 villager kills. But you know he's got 3 TCs running, massive eco lead. As the monks for any conversions and any healing, it's exactly what you'd want to see from BacT's position. And a few scorpions would be a very good addition here.
Yeah, definitely. It's why it's kind of a shame that Dark couldn't at least get to cast stage without dying, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if this is an even position, like you kind of force BacT to make a play because Frank can't really just like let Saracens build up to like heavy camel and Arblaster. You just lose the game.
Yep.
So like at least if he'd have tried to keep the game open, you force BacT to play really well. But like here, I mean, I guess BacT has played really well to win the game, but he's not really done too much. Like we're not really
He hasn't
seeing
had to work
BacT
super hard, yeah.
yeah, like he's not really made any crazy decisions, right? He's just kind of microed some scouts and won the game.
Yeah, and this is the ideal world for Franks, is where you get ahead just doing the basics. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do any crazy tech switches. They're just so good economically. And then it gets to a point where when you have the eco lead, you just transfer to stone, which I think should be happening soon for BacT, at least I would. And then you could eventually build some cheap castles all over the map, and then you're an imp. It's just... There's a reason why all the low elo legends out there, well, not all, but a lot of them play Franks, and there's
Yeah.
a reason why high-level players love to play Franks for Arabia.
Yeah, there's a reason why there's a Reddit thread every week about Franks because they are very simple, very easy to play. I think they do have the weaknesses, and they don't really have the perfect win rate, and especially in tournament games, right?
Yep.
But they are definitely a solid civ, right?
Yeah, I'd say the civ that's probably weak against potentially Mezzo, and then Chinese can give them some real problems if we're talking tournament draft scenarios.
Yeah.
But right here, BacT is just... he probably feels like he's got this right now, not hesitating to go in for any type of kill. Monks are always on the camels to get conversions, which I like to see. Split up his knights on the cav archers, which is perfect, while also keeping his knights next to the siege. And Dark is going to call it here. Not the best start to the series, but like we said, it definitely is not going to be worse in any of these future games. So that's the only positive here for Dark.
Yeah, it's only up from here, right?
Shoot, I had something. Oh, I wanted to give, since we have a lot of people here and whatnot, or we mentioned the subreddit, I wanted to give Kashdai a shout out. I don't know if Kashdai is here right now, but Kashdai is posting a Hidden Cup 4 meme every single day on the subreddit, and I've been looking for them. I've been frequenting the subreddit just to see the memes, and every single day they've been amazing. So I don't know if anyone out there has been seeing those, but thank you, Kashdai, for doing that. I didn't get to send you a PM about that yet. There's been some funny ones. All right, so this is where, like, we know Franks are strong on Arabia Hallis, but now we've got these other maps, and this is where we have to scheme a little bit and guess where players might end up using the civs. We actually talked about Hideout before the series started. If Hideout comes up, as it was the first home map pick, we feel as though BacT's in a good position with Teutons, right?
Yeah, okay, so but one weird thing is that Dark has Italians and Portuguese, so presumably he's going to pick one for islands. The thing about Portuguese is they are kind of a clown civ. I think you could probably see them being picked on Hideout, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Do you know how they match up against Teutons? That's probably winnable for Portuguese, right?
I don't know if there's many civs that match up super well against Teutons on Google Maps. Like honestly, is there a single civ? Aztecs won't do it. You can't go for that traditional pick. Mayans, maybe. Mayans. I mean, at a certain point, Teutons just wreck everything with their options, I feel.
Yeah.
So it is rather tough. I would honestly, if I'm Dark, I would not go for Hideout for my next home map, and I might go Islands. And I think you mentioned it. You've got Italians, Portuguese, and Japanese in your draft. BacT would have Well, Vikings is honestly pretty good, but I still think you could go Portuguese maybe to counter that on water. And then also it's completely different style from these standard land maps where BacT is the most capable.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just kind of a bit confused because he's got. It feels like he has too many sibs for like water maps. Like Italians, Portuguese, Japanese. I guess we've got Bay as well, right?
Yeah.
And Bay Islands cross, but he's already got Lithuanians for cross, right? I don't know if he expected maybe for Portuguese to be sniped.
You
Um,
know, it's really hard to map out where I think these civs are going to be used on both sides, but if I had to guess, I'd say Dark would go Portuguese on islands. He would go he did go Italians on cross against Overtaken.
I know that Hero really likes Italians on cross. I know from watching
Mm-hmm.
a lot of his streams, and he also picked them against Leary in a show match recently as well. Um, so if Hero plays them, I mean, you could probably argue they're quite a solid pick against Mongols. Though I'm not too sure if they're actually better than Mongols. Um,
It's hard to say. I think like we could easily spend the next 10 minutes just talking round and round in circles of what's going
yeah.
to come up, and I think we'll just have to see. It's funny. I'm looking for the game. They haven't launched yet, and Dark Elf is playing, chat. Dark Elf is a. I don't know if you heard of him, Hallis. He's a low elo legend. He's like 700 elo. Like his base always has perfect farms and perfect house placement.
Oh,
Um,
nice, nice.
like there's not a single tile gap between the farms and the houses. It always lines up. It's always a nice little square, and he's played like 1,200 ranked games. It's insane. But um, we're not going to be casting him. Sorry, chat. I think we'll just have to wait and see what map they go for.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any of them, honestly. I mean, he's got Lithuanians for cross. He's probably quite confident on cross, right? Do you think we've seen the cross meta the kind of evolve now? What do you think the best cross civs are now?
So it's not necessarily that the meta's evolved, but I think that the version of cross we have right now is so much more dependent upon switching pawns. Um, the previous tournament versions had a lot more food in each pond, and then even more so, the ranked version, which people become familiar with for lakes, has like 10 times the amount of food that we have in these ponds. So you honestly, you kind of need to get the other ponds, which is one factor, and then the other factor is sometimes with the map gens, and it is going to be islands next. You can find situations where players can they're so close together that they can get ahead with land as well instead of just winning water. So it's honestly it's just kind of a mix of everything, which is crazy. And we were spot on with the civilization guess. It will be Portuguese for Dark and Vikings for
Yep.
BacT in game 2.
Yeah, that makes sense. Honestly, I really like how cross and slopes have been changed because like, I watch these maps and like you don't really know what civ is going to be on which map.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have an idea, but especially with slopes, like I know that Jordan won with Britons against Indians earlier, right? And I've seen Bulgarians work on that map. I mean, there's just so much diversity. Like before, it used to be Indians mirror, right?
Yep.
And it's the same with cross really. Like you could really pick Huns, like Lithuanians, like Byzantines are picked a lot. Yeah, it's definitely difficult to tell which is the best at the moment. Um, how do you feel about cab archers in this metagame, by the way?
If you're faster to Castle Age by 40 seconds or more, I love them. The issue is that a lot of people are trying to go cav archers when they fall behind, and so they'll have 6 knights at their base, and then they're having 3 ranged cav archers, and they're
Yeah,
in a tough spot. So like
yeah,
Doubt showed in Red Bull. Now, granted, it was different settings, and I am in the game then if you're able to find it.
I, yeah,
Um, but yeah, I really do feel like in certain situations, probably not on islands, but cav archers can
yes.
work really well. So, by the way,
Well, I
shout
mean,
out to Zero Empires in chat. What's up, Zach? Nice to see you, man. Probably here to support you, Hallis. I think you guys have played. You mentioned CS, a lot of CS together over the years, right?
we have, yes, yeah, we have.
Probably still do if I had my
Yeah, we
guess.
do.
All right. Well, here in the blue, we have BacT, and BacT had a very strong game number 1. That said, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for Dark in game 1. He shot his boar with his TC. He failed some boar lures. Oh wow! And he's now moonwalking. All right, that's a plus. just overall, kind of a game that you're expected to lose when you perform that weekly in Dark Age. So we've got Portuguese versus Vikings. It is Team Islands. There's been a lot of conversation about Portuguese, especially. Alice, where do you think Portuguese fit as far as the water meta is concerned?
I'm not the best Swords player, I will admit that, but I think they have a really, really, really nice late game timing, right? So that if you can stay alive, which most of the time you can on islands, if you get to those Pretoria, you're usually in a pretty good spot to win as long as you don't take crippling damage.
Yeah.
But I think they're not immensely strong earlier, so I feel like it does kind of balance out at least a little bit. I don't know what you think.
Well, oh man, I could have a full-on conversation about this. I guess we're gonna have the time here. So you know how when it comes to the units made on water, it's often referred to as the water triangle.
Yep.
I feel like we've got when it comes to water civilizations, there's four of them, and so I guess that makes a cube. We've got like the water cube, and it's I don't know. I could be explaining this way better. I didn't practice this explanation, but you look at this Civ matchup in particular. Portuguese can give Vikings some real problems because Vikings do not get fires, and Portuguese strength with the Caravels, which is good against galleys or longboats, can excel. So I think Portuguese against Vikings, Portuguese the better Civ. You look at something like Italians against Portuguese. Italians, not only do they have fast fire ship, but it's cheaper for them to advance to each age. Plus their dock techs are discounted. I feel like Italians, even though Portuguese could stall it out, are the better Civ in that matchup, and I think the data has reflected that as well. But then you got like Vikings against Italians. Vikings might be slightly better than Italians if it's straight galleys. I mean, I honestly, and then you have Japanese and some other Civs, but like it's so interesting now to talk about Civs on islands, whereas in Hidden Cup 3, it was just Italians, 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 Italians. So I welcome the Portuguese to the conversation, and I think that if Dark is able to play this well, I'd say late Castle Age, early Imp. If it's early, he's got to start thinking about stalling now a little bit and going for those Fetorias.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one thing as well about Portuguese is that they do actually have heavy demo, and that unit is insane.
Yeah.
So against civs like Japanese and Italians, like if you can get to like Feitoria heavy demo, like I think you should be winning most games late game. But like you said, they obviously have timings earlier on in the game to win.
Yep.
So I think it's only really against like Vikings where they have a really kind of solid matchup, like all around really. But other civs should have timings to win the game. It's just like you're always on a timer with the civ, right? Like if you let them get to Feitorias, you are just going to lose.
Yep.
Just because of the nature of violence.
Yeah, it's tough. Like the data simply does not reflect that one civ is stronger than the other on islands right now. It's just how it goes. We've seen Portuguese get killed off before the Fetorias can pay off. We've seen as Dark is weakening the board with the TC again. Okay, so he seems to have this down now, but it stressed me out, and now I've lost my train of thought. But yeah, I think that once we get to the main event, we're going to be seeing a lot of the civilizations. It's just that there are many players in the main event who won't prefer to pick this map if they have other choices.
Yeah. I think it's just balanced in quite a nice way in that, like, you know, there's not one civ that's massively like ahead, but all civs kind of have their timings and have like kind of phases in the game where they can compete, right?
Yep. Right. So, well, I like the BacT dock position on the left side. You probably do not want to go for forward dock if you have to open up with galleys. In this case, there's no question. Vikings do not get fires, so this will probably be a side back dock galley play. Do you think with that in mind, the Dark should try and punish the fact that the enemy doesn't have fires and send fires out? Or do you think maybe he could consider opening with his own galleys out of fear that could be strong for BacT?
I think, honestly, I think unless you know your docks are really close, I just think galleys are better.
Okay.
But I'm not a water expert. And if I was Dark and I didn't scout my opponent's docks and I don't know that they're close, then I would be really worried about going fire galleys, because I've seen so many games where like it's so easy for the galley player to snowball it, right? Like all it takes is 5 or 6 with fletching, and then it's very hard to lose a galley when you have that many, right?
Yeah.
If you've not taken that early damage. So I guess we'll see. I mean, Dark probably has practiced this, so he probably knows better than me, and I guess we'll see his decision in a little while.
Yeah, well, we have BacT making the galleys, no surprise. I I've had this conversation a lot over the last few weeks. I think like a straight galley opening is fine. Like if you're really worried about fires, maybe just side dock it. And perhaps this is another weakness of the Portuguese is that like they tend to play into that fire meta, and galley civs or even a galley strat could be strong against them. Um, for BacT, he's no stranger to these settings. Islands is a classic water map, and he's been around for years and years. And after winning first game, I'm sure he's feeling good. So he's going to send the galleys out. An interesting note is if you wanted to, I've seen some players grouping up just 2 galleys to snipe fishing ships because it's a lot faster to do so than a fires would be.
Yeah. That's pretty common. BacT is being very aggressive here with his early numbers. Do you think is that common with galleys? I feel like that's probably a little bit risky.
I think
Um,
it might be confidence. We're maybe just scouting here. Okay, there he goes. Sees the fires. We don't actually see fire from the fires all the time. Sorry, viewers, but yeah, that it looks a little bit sketch now, right? He's being chased down.
The problem, the problem as well is he's got to lead Dark to his docks, surely. Oh no, he's actually done a great job to juke, but usually you'd have to run back to where your docks are, and Dark doesn't actually know where BacT is docked.
These things are so fast now. The galleys feel so much faster than fires, man. This is insane. And look at that, Fletching's on the way. He hit a fishing ship, and now he's just gonna zoom on out of here. It's like it almost feels like he's Berbers right now. But no, this is just Viking galleys, and if he can get the mass up at home, as now Dark has found him, I really would like BacT's position, but there's 3 fires on the way right now, and he's got to have a demo land. Yeah, not a bad demo, I guess, considering that the other one was also pretty weak.
Yep. And this is what happens. It starts to snowball, right?
Yep.
Like, as soon as the more galleys he gets, the worse it gets for Dark. I mean, and he can't really switch out at this point because you've already lost that mass, right? Like, you don't have time really to catch up.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah, BacT is just it's just we talked about it before the series. BacT has been there, done that, and there's a reason he's a part of all these events year in and year out, and he's just making it look really easy here. That said, Dark's micro pretty good there. I like the one dodge, but gonna have to overwhelm here quickly, either taking out fishing ships or taking out the mass from BacT, because BacT has not taken many losses here.
Yeah, definitely. I think BacT is also quite scared about a landing as well, which I find quite interesting. He's already walled up the back of his base. Oh, and a really big demo here. Oh no.
He had me distracted with the back of the base there, but yep, demo lands and BacT defends, and I think he had 4 fishing ships. Maybe he lost one. It could have been 3. Either way,
he lost one to those fires. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's 10 military versus 5.
If you look at sorry to interrupt, but if you look at the KD, it's already 7-2, and one of those is a fishing boat. So like,
yeah,
it's just so hard to get the massive fires out, right?
You know what's interesting though? Look at the macro for Dark, and he did add 5 fishing ships in Dark Age, and he's about to have 700 food. I mean, he could up so much faster to the next age.
Oh wow, that is crazy quick. That is really impressive.
And I can't help but feel like that wasn't even with market shenanigans, Hallis. Like, it's not like 5 fishing ships brought him that much food, and he's on the way up. So if he doesn't completely lose water over the next 2 minutes, I think he could easily clear up BacT in Castle. I was not expecting that.
That is one thing that fires really have going for them, is that if you get that fast castle age timing, it's so much better than if it's just galley v galley.
Yeah.
Like, you can just run away, but with fire galleys you can catch up, and even if you don't, you can land at the same time. And if you have this combination of like fire ships and landing, it's so much harder to micro like the galleys than it is to micro the fire galleys. Although this fight is really bad for Dark.
Yeah, I think he should just be dodging here. I don't think that he should be diving. He should just be like running away, acting like he's gonna attack. Kite a little bit. Yeah, the KD 12-3 right now.
Yeah,
but the castle age could be sick, and if he keeps the fishing ships alive, I might even like to see his fishing ships go to a back dock just to keep him safe for the next couple minutes. But like, fire ships against BacT's current composition could mean that BacT could lose docks. BacT could, in theory, micro against castle age units, but it's going to be so much more difficult.
Yeah, and one really weird thing is BacT has built an archery range in the barracks in his main base. I think he's not really respecting Dark enough here. I think he's not even cleared castle age yet. I mean, Like these fire ships can do some real damage if he manages to keep them alive.
Oh, big demo maybe. Okay, I mean it hits. You know, it's better than nothing, but it wasn't really what you'd want. BacT. Now we'll see that Dark's in Castle Age. Yeah, I don't think that he ever expected Dark would be up at this time. 18-minute uptime is sick. And I know when Dark is probably training with Vinchester, and when Vinchester played Islands, he also was picking Portuguese, and he had a very similar uptime. So there's got to be some build that they're working on, which is just insane because the consistency's been there for those two.
I think it has to be the 5 fishing ships, right? And then he load all his deer, and it's just like it's incredibly clean. To get a cartridge that quickly.
Here we go. I mean, for Dark,
yeah,
you're 16 years old. Yeah. You lost the first game horribly, but you're now in a position where you could threaten, and the demos are landing. But look at this. There's more fires coming in. There's a Caravel coming in. Oh, this is going to be sick, dude. BacT could just die here. What a play.
This is amazing, and also he's buying himself so much time to switch to Caravels, right? Like this is kind of perfect for him. Like, Caravels are kind of a difficult unit to get in that mass because you can't build them in Feudal Age, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, BacT can just build his galleys, and then he has 20 war galleys. But like, you know, Dark can't do that. But now he's able to thin out that mass, and should have about 8 Caravels by the time BacT is Castle Age. So this is great for Dark.
Did you see this transport for BacT? It's just like. It's hiding in plain sight. It's just sitting there. That's really weird. And he's doing a decent job, I guess, to keep his mass alive. But you know, the point that you just brought up is, what are you going to be massing? You're going to be massing a unit that gets countered by Caravels. So it's not an ideal situation at all when you're Vikings and you fall this far behind. Well played, Dark.
Yeah, and again, like you just don't want this to happen as Vikings because you don't win this late game either. Like, your timing is probably in Feudal Age, I guess, with the faster working farms and the galleys, right? So this is looking really, really tricky for BacT.
Well, BacT is the transport loaded up with 5 archers. He somehow was able to get the transport over there. I mean, I can understand Dark is focused in various areas on water. Dark did make outposts all over his island. And let's see what his reaction time looks like here in a second.
Well, he sees it straight away. Or he should.
Yeah, he should if he notices it, right? He could see it, but does he react?
He's noticed. Yep, he has, yeah. He's already walling on the left, and he's built that TC with more villagers.
Good work.
So, yeah, perfect reaction from Dark there.
Right, and also his golds are on the other side, so it's not like a gold's getting denied by that. Could easily just make a siege workshop. I'm still curious, though. BacT he's got a big mass in his docks. And it's a deceiving amount. So as he comes out with a demo there, I could definitely see him hopping out of these docks here in a second and trying to take on the Caravels. Both of those demos connected with 2 Caravels. So I'm waiting for it. It'll probably happen soon for BacT. He is kind of trapped in the back corner, though, and so many of these war galleys are going to go down as they flee.
It's kind of an awkward fight as well for Caravels when they all release, right? Because you kind of want to get that nice, like, Scorpion bolt damage on lots of units, but like if they're all spread out, it's kind of harder to get that splash damage.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, exactly right. And so the Caravels have to get out of here. Hey, it's somewhat manageable for BacT right now. Well, I say it's somewhat manageable, but economically he's actually really far behind, and now he's going to get wrecked. It's not manageable at all. I lied. I take it all back.
Yeah, I mean, but even then, what is the play? I mean, how do you even come back? I mean, you have the worst unit, you have the worst late game.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what do you even do?
So, this is... Okay, did you not feel like this game was over after the 12-3 KD? Before seeing the resources that Dark had?
No. Just because of the way Islands is, I think.
Yeah, true.
But I see what you mean. Yeah, if it definitely felt like the BacT was fine, and he was looking great to kind of, you know, snowball the advantage, right?
Yep. Crossbows were transported over, and were able to get a Vil kill. That's good, annoying work from BacT, because Dark felt like he had this dealt with. That said, the crossbows can't really go anywhere, so I would just continue to camp the gold. Caravels and crossbows I don't see frequently. Well, they're missing a lot of their shots, sadly, but yeah, I'm thinking back to the macro approach from Dark and just how impressive that was, because it looked like fires were not the play early on, and then now everything's looking good for him, and the nature of the matchup, I feel as though Portuguese are just a perfect counter to Vikings. Vikings would have to be winning at this stage of the game, and they're not right now. So
Yeah, I completely agree. And I guess if you know that your build is that good, you probably have confidence in it, right? He knows I can lose 12 fire galleys, and
Yeah.
my build is so good I'll get castlage first. So um, I think that's just really impressive mentality, and just I mean I guess really impressive build.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, preparation. And it also probably just the mindset of, well, if I don't win with this because it was his first home map pick, it's like, then I'm screwed in this series because it clearly, I mean, I would have confidence in this build order. So,
yeah, I mean he is kind of losing this battle now though on the water.
a little bit, yeah.
Um,
He's struggling perhaps to focus on everything. He's got 3 TCs right now. And so maybe being a little greedy with the boom, but on the bright side, if you have the better unit, you probably always have that confidence to be able to just keep it even on water at least. If you're keeping it even
yeah,
when
I
you
mean
have that eco lead, you should feel okay.
yeah, I mean what's the worst case scenario is that he loses water. Um, but even then, he's up 20 vills, right? So he should be able to build a castle and redock. And in which case, he still wins because he's got the better late game civ. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's looking really good for Dark.
Do you think in some ways we also should be questioning BacT the way that he's played this? Because the galleys looked good, but he started to wall up expecting a transport, which clearly wasn't the thing. And also, he sold his stone to up to the next age, and it was still so much later. So it's got to be some question marks over his build order compared to
Yeah,
Dark.
I think you absolutely have to because I think he underestimated Dark, to be honest, because he built a barracks and archery range. It kind of felt like he'd already thought he'd won water.
Yeah,
I don't know if you because we were saying you were saying sorry that if you were we kind of felt like the game might have been over with
yeah,
the 12 to 3 KD. I think maybe BacT thought the same thing, and he's like, well, I only lose this if I get you know forward like stable on me and he goes castlage, but
true. Yep.
that wasn't really the case.
Yeah, I think he was. I think a small part of him might have believed that when it said Dark hit Castlage, that Dark had used the chat trick and typed it. He's probably like, wait, what? Wait, what? Is he Castlage? Um, anyways, longbows. I mean, I love how we're seeing in 2021 here. We've got longbows and caravels. We've got unique ships out there. Years and years ago, you had to make castles to unlock your unique ships. It's so boring, man. But it still feels like the one unique ship counters the other unique ship, especially because longbows stack. And as these caravels fire, they pass through, and the longboat stacking actually makes them significantly worse than some other units you could see.
Yeah, I mean, are war galleys much better? I mean,
They're well, I think longboats stack a lot easier. But yes, point is correct that war galleys also stack. You really should be changing your formation. Looks like BacT is thinking about it when you're using units against caravels.
okay, so how do you win this game if you're BacT, right? What is the strategy?
There's not a single. I mean, I would think get villagers to his side and go Maginot crossbow, but he's out macroed 3 TCs to 1. On water, it's somewhat 50-50. Like, this isn't even Portuguese versus Vikings at this point. This might as well be a Vikings mirror. Dark is just ahead in every single aspect.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. This is it's so hard to tell with some of these fights whether or not. I think this is good for BacT.
Yeah, it does look kind of good. Are you confused that Dark continues to mix in fires?
Yeah, I think it kind of doesn't really make any sense because like BacT is still building demo ships as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, like longboats just destroy fires, right? So maybe not the best unit composition.
Yeah, it was weird to me how he continued to mix in fires. There's no real need to do that here. I think caravels would be the way, and maybe, I mean, you asked BacT's win condition, it would be winning water. And despite all we've said about how Portuguese should match up nicely, BacT's production has been a lot higher. And he's pushing now, and he sees blood in the water. There's opportunities for him to weaken these units. He's now going to bring across more crossbowmen. I mean, Dark's 16 years old, is a little shaky in game 1. Maybe starts to feel a bit shaky right now, and maybe BacT could show his confidence in his class to maybe bring this game to an even point. That's still got to have, he has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, loads of work to do. I mean, this preemptive castle from Dark is quite nice. One thing maybe that could have been, I don't know what you think, but like, isn't that a bit preemptive? I mean, he might lose the water and he might need that stone to cast those dogs, and he's kind of doing that for 5 crossbowmen.
Yeah, I mean, he had no real way of expecting that transport. So imagine if he would have placed it on the shoreline. You know, that castle would never go up. So
yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he just wants to go Imperial here. I don't think it's the end of the world for Dark. I think what he should be doing is making a Scorpion for home, and then he should be back docking or side docking and just continuing to mass Caravels.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Caravels is the play here, right? I think as long as he survives and he doesn't, as long as he can't, as long as he doesn't get to the point where he can't redock, then I think he's fine.
Yeah, and BacT is so worse off. It looks like we might have a pause. It is a series with BacT after all. BacT is not on 3 town centers. BacT has 64 villagers versus 105 villagers. So Dark was able to use that faster castle age to not only like get a bit of a lead on water or come back on water, but also extend that to an insane land eco. And when this game resumes here, I expect to see docks and caravels and then another uphill climb for BacT because it'll be even worse. This time he won't be in the Imperial Age, and then he probably will get shredded.
Yeah, exactly. I think honestly, Dark has played this really well. I think he's shown a lot of like calm. His macro has been pretty perfect. Like,
yep,
it's easy to not build TCs on islands because like Yuriko is so like kind of it's so wood oriented, and you don't have much food early castle age. Like he didn't even have a farm until he hit castle age, right? But he still managed to macro perfectly. He's got like 40 villager lead, and now he's calm. He's not taking too many risks. He's just I'm not sure if I like this castle though on the right side of his base.
These castles would be really good to protect Victorias later or something. But yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good question. Does he open up like right now? He has 45 free pop space, and he's 90 pop away from being 200. So he could possibly justify opening up with a Victoria or two. Do you think you would do that in this position?
I'm not sure. I think you could justify it, but I think I'd rather have a castle on my shoreline, which is why I'm a bit confused. Like if you look at what's happening, his castles are just so conservative that he's taking kind of unnecessary damage.
Yeah, like the TC on the left. He's losing a TC right now.
Yeah. I mean, Dark is getting to the position where he could throw this game if he doesn't play correctly in the next few minutes.
Seriously. Like it would be a pretty massive throw, I think, as well. Like Caravels. 30 villager lead and faster Imperial Age. That should equal a victory here. And Dark is now going to front dock after the castle. But this castle's the first one of the 3 we like.
And you predicted it, T90. I think you might be right. That's why he was placing the castles there, because he's building a Faitoria in between both of them.
Yeah, man, you got to keep them safe. And what's nice is sometimes, at least every time I've made a Faitoria, and it has not been too frequently, sometimes you forget to have houses for them. So you make a Faitoria, and then you're instantly pop capped, and that can hurt your production. But he's got a ton of castles now for pop space, plus he's adding houses, and now he's front docking. But I have some real concerns over his economy now. Like, look at the amount he has on food. He's got 11 food in the bank. BacT has been on 1 TC, and BacT has 18. It's not a lot for either, but he does not have a mass, and BacT he has 40 longboats. This is a ridiculous mass to deal with if BacT gets upgrades.
Yeah, and Islands is one of those maps where you can make it work if you have either the tech advantage or the numbers, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't necessarily matter if you have, if you're down 40 villagers, especially when Dark's eco is far from perfect, right? But if you have that mass, you can do so much with it. You can snowball the game. It doesn't matter if your opponent has double the villagers if they have no army.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, can BacT now capitalize? Can he like get forward transports on Dark's Island and take out those Victorias and kind of secure the game?
Yeah.
Because again, it doesn't really matter for BacT if he's ahead. He has to kind of win the game soon-ish. Yeah. Otherwise, those Victorias will just generate too many resources.
I think because Dark was so far ahead, he should, in theory, just be able to get back on water here, use the Victorias to bring in a trickle of resources, and then eventually win. That's my feeling about this. But I also felt 10 minutes ago that this game was not even close to winnable for BacT, and BacT and Dark showed us that a throw is always a little bit possible. So, curious now. Elite longboats on the way. These caravels are not elite yet. Chemistry is on the way, but not in yet. So there's some upgrades missing for Dark. Can BacT take some good fights against the caravels, or maybe he still needs to hesitate a bit about that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if you saw this, by the way, but BacT tried to build a forward archery range in the middle of Dark's base.
he's still trying with 1 villager, and looks like that'll either get converted or shot down. But yeah, I think even though they're elite longboats, Caravels should be doing quite well here, but BacT is doing all right, man. You know, BacT
Yeah,
is
he's
giving
doing
himself
really
a real
well.
chance.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
And that pop space is so deceiving, too. Like, yes, Vittoria is bringing a trickle of resources, but you're losing 20 pop space for Vittoria. Population is not as high as it seems for Dark. If you look at the stats, military is 55 to 18. I think BacT either needs to start transporting Trebs over or go for Cannon Galleon right now. Like, you've got to start pushing the main base as quickly as possible.
Exactly, yeah. And if BacT can hit this timing, I feel like Dark is really kind of he doesn't have the he's getting elite Caravel now, which is perfect. If he can hold and get 30 or 40 Caravel, I think he can still win this game. But he's given BacT so much potential to, you know, like you said, like land trebuchets, like start putting some real pressure on him.
Yeah, it's
we
probably
see another Victoria as well.
So let's say you're in BacT's position, Hallis, and you end up losing this game, but you lose this game recognizing that you were way behind and you almost came back. Does that give you a lot of confidence going into the next series, or does that not really play a role in your mind?
Honestly, from the way BacT has played this game, I think BacT is extremely confident anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't think BacT cares. But yeah, if this is me and I know I've got the worst civ and, you know, I was, you know, that far behind, I would be very happy with being really annoying for my opponent and like making the game difficult.
4 Vittorias for Dark. I think that's too much, man. That might be too much. That's 80 pop space that he cannot fight with, and then he's got 80 villagers. So he literally only has, like, I'm trying to do quick math here, 40 pop space for military, and back to 60 military out in the field. I think Vittorias, while they can be strong in some unique situations, are not necessarily the way to win on islands. You still need to have control. Dark could lose this game.
He could, and it feels I don't know. It feels kind of bad for Dark because he was so far ahead. All he had to do was keep a massive Caravels and not completely sacrifice both his economy and the water. But he's managed to do just that, right? And we were saying, how does BacT win this game? But I guess he's kind of showing us, right? You just keep taking the map. You just build units and you kill your opponent's units. Oh, and if you look on the left, that Victoria is actually being ranged by those longboats.
Victoria, is that the Victoria or the house though?
No. Sorry. If you go further up.
Oh, that Victoria. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, there's too many to look at.
Yeah, there's
like,
a lot.
Are you blind? Like, come on, man. Jeez, you can't have 2 blind people in the casting booth. Well, anyways, the gold's also being ranged by BacT. I think BacT is showing that in this matchup, you can't just switch to Victorias like this, man. You've gotta actually have mass. It really is frustrating to see this. Now, it was particularly frustrating when Classic Pro and Zupi played. There was a point where Classic Pro had 4 Victorias, just like Dark, and Zupi had like 80 military on water, and he refused to go for Cannon Galleons and finish off the game. In this case, I don't even think Cannon Galleons are necessary. I think BacT should transport the Trebs, and then just start trebbing down everything. I don't see Dark being able to bring this back right now. Like, it's 250 stone and 250 gold for Vittoria. He loses one, he's adding another one that you're still costly to make, and it's time consuming to build them.
And here we see the transport ship, like you were saying, those Trebs are coming forward. Like, what does Dark do now? I mean, the game has switched so quickly, right? Like, if you're Dark, like, are you just playing for the ultra late game and just hoping?
Yeah, pretty much. I think it just wasn't a smooth transition, Hallis. He had it in the bag if he would have played the game, honestly. Played the game.
Yeah, no, I
agree.
Units. Yeah.
So,
and this is what I was talking about with those castles. Like, he essentially lost the water at that point. So, like, what I would have done, and again, I am no like islands, you know, pro or anything like that.
You're too modest.
But I would have just built them by my docks, and then if you can guarantee the production, if you can guarantee elite Caravel, maybe you're in a better position. But then he lost a lot of economy from the longboats anyway, right? So it's already a difficult position.
And even prior to that, I think he just kind of switched off on water. You know, you got to stay on water in Castle Age. If you stay on water in Castle Age, you can easily transition to Imp, get your castles where you want them. What is a little awkward, though, is while we're talking about all this, look at the Caravels in the back. BacT will lose that, and there's always that possibility, that slight possibility that if BacT can't finish Dark, that then, you know, Dark could come back. But I'm looking at the castles on the left. That's going to go down. The Victorias are going to go down. He needs to get up to like 70 military before I'm feeling really comfortable for him.
Yeah, honestly, if you look at the mainland as well, BacT's got Arbalests and Rams already, so this is honestly perfect like capitalization of the
Yep.
lead. It's something that we didn't see Zippy do, right? And it's something that you really, when you're playing against Portuguese and you get this like timing, you just have to win the game right now. And BacT's playing in a way that should secure the game for him, which is really impressive.
Yeah.
But like we were saying, how does Dark even win this? He's got nothing on land. His water is he's still kind of losing on water. I mean,
Dude, it's like, you know how when people are learning the game, they go for 3 town centers a lot because they're like, eco's important. And then they get overwhelmed by military. They're like, what did I do wrong? Like, I feel like this is obviously this is high level. I'm trying to dumb it down a little bit, but like, this is just a classic case of not taking map control. You have a lead and you don't take map control with it, and then you just think that you could just sit back with a couple castles and Victorias. Good players, especially someone like BacT who has so much experience, he's not going to allow this to ever happen. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Victorias now for Dark. It's like he's making Victorias before he loses a Victoria, but it just caps his pop space even more. He doesn't have pop space to do anything.
yeah. I mean, the problem is he's lost most of his villagers now, so he's committed T90. This is it. He's building Victorias or he's losing the game. I mean,
yeah, it's
wow.
just the only way I'd really have faith in him is if he had the same amount of military. But even then, BacT's got buildings on his island now and can make siege. And there's not a whole lot out there. I guess there's a few bombard cannons, but there's not a whole lot out there to stop the siege and Trebs and the Arbalests from handicapping and cutting off part of that island.
Yeah, and the trouble is as well is that the Dark is soon going to have half an island.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, like, it's going to take a while for the Victorias to outlast BacT when he's got literally an island and a half and all the middle islands.
I'm just looking at, I'm sorry, I can't take this seriously. I'm just looking at this northern corner of his island. It looks ridiculous. If this could win him the game, it should be a thing, but I don't think it is, man. We're going to see 38 Caravels against 52 longboats. Feel like if BacT is able to spread his units out a little bit, the longboat should actually win here, but Caravels are still Caravels. Still a very strong unit to work with.
There are just so many longboats, man, and this is the master that we were talking about. It doesn't matter how much economy you have. If you have half the military, it's just going to snowball, right? Yeah, I think this could be the end of the game.
Yeah, it's such a shame, dude. Dark had this, dude. Dark had this.
Yeah, he did. But if you look at his resources, he's still got a lot of resources considering.
Yeah, yeah. The other weird thing about the like this situation is you get all that food from Victorias. You get more food than anything else. Like what is food gonna do for you on islands? It's the trickle of everything else that becomes important. He's adding more. Dude, I feel for Dark because he will know that he should have closed this out. And we're assuming that BacT is probably just going to win this from here. And he's going to be kicking himself. Like, how did I lose this game in a best of 7 against someone as good as BacT? I should have won this to give myself a chance. You know, all those thoughts start to come into your mind. So even though I heavily disagree with how it was played in late Castle Age, he put himself in such a good position and really just tossed it all away.
Yeah, I mean, you have to praise Dark for his early build. His feudal age was perfect, even though he lost most of his units. Like, he got to Castle Age and he retook the map control and he boomed really well. It's just like his follow-up from that just wasn't crisp enough that BacT was able to take the map control back.
Yeah.
And the problem was that BacT managed to kill so much of Dark's economy with those longboats, right? When he took on map control, that it kind of snowballed into a huge military lead.
The relic heist almost happened there. Back to trying to steal those relics. This is very silly now at this point. We've got Trebuchet firing against bombard cannons, bombard cannon there on Trebuchet, ram on Victoria. What's wild is you look at your pop and you think that you're not dead if you're in Dark's position. So,
I mean, let's see how much these Victorias can carry Dark, if he can actually survive for any longer.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like he should play on at this position because he does have Victorias, which if the game goes on for a long time, will give him resources and BacT will run out. But BacT has soaked up all the resources, all the gold, all the stone in the middle islands. He's got the relic advantage now. And now he has siege ram with the Trebs, so castles are going to start to fall, Victorias are going to start to fall, and it just does not feel like it's going to be enough here.
Yeah, this is definitely looking pretty rough. And even those siege rams as well are really good against the caravels if you put them on the shore, right? Because they absorb so much damage.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I just can't see where the comeback is going to come from right now.
I don't think it's possible. Like a lot of people. It's funny actually. I was looking at the feedback thread on AoE Zone last night, and people were talking. Some people were discussing the civs and giving some good feedback there. But like, someone was like saying Portuguese is OP, blah blah blah. And I looked at the stats. I'm like, wait a second. What makes you think that? I can understand how in some situations you might think that being able to make this building's OP, but Portuguese actually have a pretty poor win rate. Though I do think it will climb in the main event, and you can't just make Victorias and win, Hallis. You've got to make Navy.
Yeah,
you've got to get the text. You've got to control the game.
exactly. Yeah, it's you can't substitute Praetorians and just assume you're gonna win. I think, like you said, you have to take the map. You have to have an army. You have to use like at least your caravels or try and take some kind of map presence. I mean, we saw here how much you can be punished for being a little bit too passive, right? I mean, Dark wasn't even not building units. He just kind of didn't focus enough on keeping his mass alive.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just snowballed so quickly, like.
And it also is just, I felt like even though he had lost his mass, it was still very winnable for him because he was that far ahead. So credit to BacT, dude, who had some a weird opening, I guess, after the early lead. He didn't have a good castle time. But what a monstrous play from BacT to somehow give himself a shot here, make all the right moves. And poor Dark is, like, at this point, his villagers don't have anything to do but take that shorefish. Look at this. This is his eco. That and Fatoria's.
This reminds me of that hero against Viper game. And GG is called.
Yeah, GG will called here. And wow. This kid is 16 years old, talented player, had a massive lead, and then tried to go for Fatoria's too early. BacT said, you have a lot to learn. It's not going to be good enough. And BacT wins the game. What a game that was from BacT. And maybe a lesson for anyone out there who's playing Islands on how to use Portuguese and how not to, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if you're BacT right now, how confident are you feeling? I mean, you must have. I mean, if I was BacT, I would have thought that game was over a couple of times at least.
Yeah.
But he has the mental fortitude, like all of these 2K4 players do, is they just never die. They never give up. They always know exactly how to come back and like the way to do it. And I think we saw it here, right? I mean, there was no point where like I just felt like it so many times that the Dark should have just been able to close that game out, but BacT made it look so easy with like just massing units and taking good fights, right? Like it's really impressive, actually.
People look at that timeline. 1 hour game. Victorias do not show up on the timeline. So this shows you how little control Dark had for the game when he tried to go for the Victorias. So in the mid game, BacT was way behind economically. If I recall, it was 30 fills, like we were saying. And yet BacT was able to control the water, and he was able to have a later Imperial Age and still end up winning that game. I am borderline speechless right now because the positions that Dark was in for the first 30 minutes should not have been losable. And it just happened. And it's the class of BacT to understand how to play. And I think Dark may be lacking the experience there. It's like he maybe practiced his openings a lot to get to the leading position, but then hadn't faced up against someone who could actually come back once he got there. So,
but if you are Dark there, what adjustments do you make so that you do win that game comfortably?
You don't have to rush Imp there. You honestly, what good did Imp give him in that game? It gave him access to Victorias and nothing else. So only go Imp if you're also massing the Caravels at the same time. So even in that situation, if you would have gone for a second town center, just go 2 town centers and then invest into Caravels. Because I think maybe him going to 3 TCs and then needing farms, that's a lot of wood that he doesn't have for docks and for production of Caravels. So yeah, again, you're on 2 TCs. You're still going to have an eco lead. You're going to then have the Caravel mass. All you need to do is just keep the Caravel mass in that matchup, and you should win.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. Maybe that's. I think the problem with Portuguese is that on islands, like you always want to get to that tech advantage of Imperial Age.
Yep.
But the problem is like what you have to think when you're not going for fast fires because obviously they're not good against longboats. What is that imp going to give you? And really, because you're not going to go for fast fires, like the imp isn't that important. Like it's more important, like you said, to get that massive army out, right? You just want to have equal numbers, and then if you can get, like, as long as the game is even with Portuguese, you should win.
Yep.
Like as long as you're not losing, like you should win. So I think you're probably right. Maybe like you could still go 3TC, but maybe something like 5 or 6 docks, like kind of playing quite passively in front of his docks with his Caravel so that BacT can never take a fight. And then you can close the game out. I think, like you said, but Dark just kind of he kind of just gave up too much map and was a little bit too greedy with his economy.
Also, the longboats didn't fare too terribly, but then again, it was a 3-to-1 ratio. So it's like
Yeah,
three. Trying to think of counter units here. It's like 3-to-1 ratio with crossbows against skirms. The crossbows also wreck. So that's just kind of how the game goes.
yeah.
Wow.
Um,
Well, let's move along here for Dark. He's lost on Arabia. He's lost on islands, and islands looked like a really good strategy. We kind of discussed Hideout. It might also be cross for him. We'll find out soon. Um,
yeah. What if you're Dark right now? What map would you be playing? What map would you be picking?
I don't know when you want to rip the Hideout band-aid off because
Yes, that's what I was thinking as
like
well.
do you I feel like I go cross here because based on the civs there, would be a little worried about going to Hideout when you're already down 2 games and BacT has Teutons for that. And sometimes you don't have an understanding of what the enemy's going to do on a map. And I know BacT has picked Berbers on Hideout in the past, but like Teutons is such a clear pick for Hideout and such a strong pick for Hideout against most of the civs that Dark has that get a win on cross and then move on from there. You know what I mean? It just will give you a confidence boost if nothing else.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would just if I was Dark, I would be pretty worried about picking Hideout just because Teutons seem to just annihilate every civ that he has in his roster at the moment. I mean, I honestly the only civ that I could see maybe working is some kind of weird clownery with Malay, maybe win the game quite early.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just all those civs that he has just feel like they're kind of well, they don't really match up too well against Teutons.
Nah, I agree with you on that. And it's tough, man. You're up against a much better player. Now, I forget how the series went, but I know Robo's in chat. Everyone say, "Hi, Robo." Robo, could you possibly look back and tell me what the scoreline ended? Well, I know the final score between Dark and Fish in round 1 was 3-2, but I'm curious what order those wins happened. Because if I think Callus that Dark was behind in that set and then came back.
Uh, no, he was behind. He lost Arabia. He won Islands and Bay and went up 2-1, and
Oh,
then
okay.
Fish won Gold Rush and he closed out on Cross.
Okay, never mind. We don't need you, Robo. Robo, you're fired. Hallis, you're hired. Congratulations.
I mean, it's on Wikipedia if
Yeah,
anyone
yeah,
is
I know. I
interested. Yeah,
just, gotta. Robo's got to earn his $4 an hour. So
that's true.
you can't just sit there. Come on, man. In chat saying bye, Robo. Now that's great. To the viewers out there today, thanks for showing up again. This is what the schedule is today. So Hallis is with me right now, and we're casting BacT versus Dark. After this will be Heart versus Barrels. Whoa, man, what a set. I think that's a 50-50 one, and casting that with me will be Leary. And then the final set of the day will be ACCM versus Daniel, and then Hera will be casting that with me. So 3, I can't count, best of 7s today, Hallis. What do you think about that Heart versus Barrels set, though?
That is a really, really interesting set because obviously Hart has only just come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, not only just, but he's been back for a while. But he's not really played that many tournaments, right? I don't know, man. Who are you favoring? Who do you think's gonna win that one?
I think I favor Hart, but like the thing is, Hart's friends with like Hart was on Team AM, so it's with all the big names. You've got like Hera, Leary, MBL, Nikov. So I feel like if you're Barles, you don't have any of these like high level teammates or buddies or whatever, and so you're not getting pumped up as much, right? It's like all the GL guys, and rightly so, were like Jordan, 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 Jordan. They're always going to do that. And I think Barles and Hart are very, very similar in how they play the game. So it wouldn't surprise me either way if like Barles or Hart were to win that next set. It should be really tight.
Yeah, it should be really tight. I think you're right. When you're in a team like AM, I feel like there's probably a lot more pressure to like you're in a team with people like Hero, MBL, Leary, right? Like guys who are all like winning tournaments or like getting in the final. So you must think, I really want to compete with these guys, and then you obviously work a lot harder to try and get in the events, right?
Yep.
Whereas Bowles obviously doesn't have that. But at the same time, I'm not really sure how much prep the AM guys are doing, right? So it's kind of hard to tell.
Well, It looks like it will be Hideout next, and we were
Oh.
just not correct at all with our predictions. Oh my
Oh,
god.
really?
Dude, we're wrong in so many different ways. I'm gonna send you the game idea in case you can't find it.
Yeah,
But when
I
you
can.
see these civs, you're not gonna believe what they've gone for here. We're so wrong. Oh my god. Let's see if it lets me load in, and we should be in a second here, viewers.
Wait, what on earth? Yeah, that's. Do you
Shows
think
the
this is mind games from both of them?
I just I don't know. I
What?
maybe
I'm
maybe back to
shocked.
this point is like I don't like playing with Teutons. I'm up 2-0. Let's just win this thing fast, and then I never have to pick Teutons. But it does feel like, as far as pre-planning goes, which is really important if sets go long, that maybe these civilizations were suited elsewhere. I'm going to show the viewers here in a second as we get into the game. Um, but we had said that Italians would probably be utilized for some type of water map. And now you have Dark in the red, and Dark has gone for the Italians. And then we
Yeah.
thought that Teutons was the clear spot for Hideout because Hideout's a very campy map. And thought that Mongols might be utilized. Well, we didn't even discuss it because we felt Mongols would suit more of a land map. While this is a land map, BacT said, you know what, let's go Mongols. So Mongols, Italians on Hideout. Don't think I've ever seen this one before.
Yeah, I can't say I have either. I mean, I mean, I'm a bit shocked honestly because Mongols are like the best basic, right? Or one of the best. They're S tier at least.
Yep.
Um, and it just feels like you're limiting your options a little bit by picking them on Hideout. I don't know.
This
Um,
is something that, and this is typical for a Hideout game, for us to just find something else to talk about for the next 10 minutes. But this is something that is very BacT-like, where he'll play well in a series, and then the draft doesn't necessarily add up over the length of a series. He has shown that to be one of his weaknesses in close sets. Fortunately for him, you know, he's so good that he's up 2-0 right now, and I actually do prefer to have Mongols over Italians here anyways, so I don't think I'll be worried too much with the way this would pan out. And what are your thoughts on Italians here? I mean, Italians have some bonuses to work with, but to pick that civ over some of the others is a little surprising for me.
I completely. The thing is, what civ do you pick? If you are Dark, right? Because it might have been a mind game for BacT because he might have thought he's gonna pick Celts and Hang Rush me, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
pick
that's true.
Mongols.
That's true.
And I didn't, but I don't understand the decision making process from Dark to pick Italians. Like,
You know
what
what?
bonuses are you getting with the civ? You know?
Well, we thought maybe Malay, right? Because we didn't like any of his civs for Hideout except for possibly Malay. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, we said possibly Malay at
Yeah.
a pinch. Yeah.
So if you think about the late game strengths, Italians are stronger, right? They've fully upgraded Hussar. They've got the Genoese crossbowman, which is great against Cav, even though they lack like halberdier. They actually have similar, if not the same, siege options as Malay. I mean, just having Hussar would be pretty good if this goes late, I suppose. But I think the concern here is that Italians don't shape up that nicely against Mongols if we're talking post-imp strength. So Mongols, I mean, they destroy everything in post-imp, to be honest. Elite Mangudai and Siege. This could
Yeah.
actually get to a point where, let's say Dark wants to go for archers and specifically Genoese crossbowmen, which are fairly good against Hussar and Mangudai. BacT could honestly go for like 20 siege rams with drill, and nothing could kill it. You know, just rammed out
Well, yeah.
everything.
Well, it's not just that though. It's drill onagers as well. I mean, drill onager Mangudai. Again, like, what do you really do as Italians? I guess you can build bombard cannons, but like,
Yeah.
they're very speedy, so it's kind of easy to dodge them. Yeah, there is something to be said that Italians will have an early imp timing, which he
Yes.
can use. I think that's probably what we'll see. We'll probably see something like a fast-ish imp with forward castle, bombard cannon treb. I think maybe that's what makes sense here. I don't know what you think, because I can't really see. If I was Dark, I wouldn't play for the late game. I wouldn't let BacT just like kind of boom to imp because you will probably just lose to the siege.
No, you called it. You said exactly what I was thinking. It's the fact that you recognize Mongols are stronger in late game, and you have a civ which can go for a very fast Imperial. I think that there's potential there. This is not the type of game where you want to drag it out and look for relics and look for extra golds. You know, it's just more so get a castle up, maybe in this front position, on one of these hills next to the deer and the golds, and then try and force a treb war against Mongols early. As for how he's going to do that, I'm not sure, Hallis, but that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, there needs to be some kind of intermediary step, right? He needs to do something to take map control because he can't just, teleport his villagers across the map. So it'll be interesting to see how he does approach this. Do
Ooh.
you think we'll see something like crossbowing?
You know, wait a second. I'm looking at his build here. Is he going to click up? Dark? There was this time. Do you remember back when Vinchester was always going for the tower builds on Arena?
Yes, I do. Yep.
Okay. I'm ashamed to admit this because at the time I didn't realize that he was probably like 14 years old. But I died so many times to Dark throughout that time period with Man-at-Arm tower forward, and he would always follow it up with like one range, and he was quite good at it, right? That was a different time. It was back in the Voobly days, and I just know that he's capable of going for these really sick builds with towers in a forward range. So it almost looks like he's got 7 on wood. He's got the barracks. It almost looks like this is going to be tower archer forward against BacT. But I'm not saying this is necessarily going to be all that good because look at the distance he has to travel to get over there.
Yeah, and the problem with Mongols is that they're a civ that doesn't really take that much time to collect to feudalage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like usually you want to be at your opponent's walls and breaking in before they reach feudalage because then they can't build a counter tower and they can't build an archery range or adapt as quickly. But with Mongols, obviously that doesn't really matter because you've got such good economy that you can fast castle with 23 builds, which is what BacT is doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dark is just petting the dog, walking the dog, getting some exercise in. And here he comes. And I have to agree with you that while there's that history for Dark, I don't think that this is necessarily a great strat against Mongols because right when he gets here, BacT is already making his buildings. And BacT is going to be in a decent position anyways. Go to Castle Age. And I'm curious now what BacT does because his stones are relatively forward. He does have one. Let's see if he scouted it. Yeah, if he goes outside of his walls, he's got the other one out there. But if you deny the stone from Mongols, it could honestly be a solid position. And so, okay, he's going to place the tower there immediately. I don't think this is 100% necessary, but I think this is a good play just to get a preemptive tower up to control the stone.
I'm not sure if I like the tower a whole lot because you can just move on the right-hand side and tower the stone anyway.
Yeah, true.
I feel like it probably could have been at least a little bit in front of his stone, a bit more to the right. But it's still, like you said, it makes it very tricky for Dark to figure out, like, where does he go next, right? Like,
if Dark... So this build order is to place towers and position them so you have your tower in range of the enemy tower, but their tower is not in range of yours. And then you have fletching archers inside of them. And you shoot their towers down. That's what the build order is. So Dark has just lost his scout. Here comes BacT. He's thinking I'm going to rush this down, but he wasn't expecting the archers.
And BacT just let Dark in.
What the? This is a big mistake. Oh my god, BacT. Oh my god. Wait a second. Now that stone can be towered. And now there's a fletching archer there. And now he's like a minute away from the next stage. He doesn't have a stone to tower. And he doesn't really have good eco. And now BacT with the gate. Or not BacT with the gate. Sorry, Dark with the gate. Blocking the quick wall off. And here come the boys and girls for BacT. This could be... Honestly, just fight with villagers if you're Dark, maybe. And just use your archers against the one... Yeah.
The problem is, right, he's only got... the problem is he only had 2 archers, right? If he had 3 or 4 there, he could win the game there, but...
And now he's going to try and run away. BacT could try and trap him in here. And
yeah,
BacT does that.
This is worst case scenario. This is... Yep.
Huh. So, I feel like you could just pull your vills close to the walls, though, and the archer's going to be helpful. It's not like BacT's scout is all that useful. Just a lot of clicking and a lot of things to focus on right now, and BacT seems to be better in that area from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, what is the follow-up now from Dark? If you look at his economy...
Don't lose that archer.
His economy at home, T90 it's not pretty.
Oh! We won't look over there. A stable. He's going to try and go for a scout. I mean, in theory, right, if Dark is just going to be up against Scorpion Mangonels, then a scout would actually be pretty helpful here. But, like, I think he's taken... You know what, though? Look at the vill count. If he keeps producing villagers and keeps delaying BacT, and then eventually ups and he has to macro for that, maybe there's a slight chance for Dark. BacT could lose that villager.
Yeah, BacT's eco is not pretty either. I mean, his eco is a complete mess. He's got 2 on food. He can't afford to produce villagers, so.
I feel like I needed this game in my life, you know? I didn't know I needed this game in my life, but I needed this game in my life. Okay. Yeah, you gotta... Dark is gonna have to add some farms here shortly. But he's so focused, and there's the Maganel for BacT. And so that should be the end for the villagers. Should be.
Yeah, I can't help but feeling if I guess there was so much to focus on. It's probably a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
But if he's got 600 wood T90, I mean,
Yep.
it's just not good enough if you want to start winning these games, right?
I agree. Yeah, it's got to be a finer balance there. Like he didn't even have. Now he's seeding farms, but you've got to have a balance there where you're attacking, and then you're also having some type of macro. Even if it's 80% micro, 20% macro, it can't be 100 either side of the spectrum. You know.
Yeah, I completely agree.
What I really wish he would have done here, it's almost like BacT letting him in worked out for BacT, right? Because now BacT doesn't have the threat anymore, and the villagers didn't make any more towers. What I really would have liked to have seen is exactly what I said, where he places a tower kind of to the left of that house. It would be in position of the stone, and it would have, for a couple minutes there, been able to shoot down BacT's tower while denying the stone, and then his villagers would still be alive. They can repair. Like, that's the build order that I was mentioning. That's very common, as BacT kills one of his own villagers.
Yeah, that's... Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think maybe that's a safer way to play. I think he could have still made it work if he'd have been a little bit more patient and he'd have walled in that tower.
Yeah, yeah.
If he has 3 archers there, if he buys time for 3 archers and the 4 villagers, like, BacT can't really take that without suffering huge losses. Yeah, it just all happened a little bit too quickly for him, and BacT really did well to pounce on that timing with the 4 villagers, right?
Yep.
Okay, now that Dark has been pushed back, like, what is the follow up now? Like, what does he do here? Do you think?
I mean, if he didn't make the forward stable, I would say it wouldn't be too crazy to add some scouts at home. Like, if he would have been, honestly, if he would have just made the stable at home and made 2 scouts before the spearmen came out, which are now coming out, and it's a wise move from BacT to do so, he could just clear up the Maganels and Scorpions and villagers, and then he could just boom his way up to the next stage. So, I mean, he's got 600 stone right now. Clearly, he was counting on building more towers. He does actually have his scout. Oh, wait a second. It's not his scout. He's making scouts.
Yeah, he's built scouts in BacT's base, yeah.
Oh, man. He's found a way to make this work, I guess. So, yeah, I would just say micro your scouts and be annoying, and then just try and get to Castle Age then.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty bad for Dark right now, but I don't think this game is over, you know? If you look at his BacT's economy, it's still... honestly, his economy is a tragedy. Like, he is not getting any economy up anytime soon. And Dark is actually on stone, so I think Dark is either preparing for, like, a defensive castle, or maybe he was thinking of, like, a forward castle if BacT were to start booming. But, like, this aggression from BacT, I think if Dark just goes defensive towers, I think he should be okay.
Oh, Dark was so close there. Okay, so what's weird about defensive towers, though, is they die to a few Maganels. I think what BacT wants to do is go for another workshop and turn this into some type of a YOLO play. But yeah, now he's clicked up. You're right. And I'm with you as the scout is on the hunt for the weak villager and can't find her. Where is she, actually? She's on the farm now. Even though BacT will probably have a castle as well, I feel like this game is winnable for Dark. It's just a little bit of a shame to be down 2 games and then have that not pan out as you would have liked, you know?
Yeah, I'm not... Okay, I guess BacT is doing forward siege and...
He's going to go castle drop, too. Look at the villagers. Oh, my God, dude. He's going to castle drop this? God. What? You tower me, I castle you. How do you like it? Wow. All right. Well, you know what? That is one way to react when someone goes all in and that you know that they're going to be a ways away from Castle Age. This is one way to react. And when you're Mongols and you want to fast track your way to Mangadai, well, typically you'd want to have more than like 3 on food. I think that there is something to be said for getting the castle up sooner rather than later. So here he comes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe BacT's been taking some lessons from his fellow countryman Huang.
Yep.
I mean, you don't need farms, guys. All you need is 20 villagers on gold and about 10 on wood. And
Dark, you know, what are you doing, dude?
Oh, no.
Dark, this is not... Even if you take out the siege... There's no way. Well, you know what? If he takes out the siege and then pulls every single villager that he has and places his own castle in 5 seconds, maybe there's a chance.
I
Pull
don't
every
know,
vill.
290.
Pull
I
every
don't
vill.
know.
Pull every vill and make a castle. Come on.
He's
It's too
building a
late.
tower instead.
Yeah. Well, honestly, the castle's at 60%. He has fletching. If he can complete that,
No, he needs to bail on this, otherwise he's gonna lose about 10 villagers.
I feel like the game's probably over if he doesn't, you know? Like, if he doesn't stop this castle, that's such a good spot, and he's already committed so many vills. If he runs now, villagers die, yeah, and the castle will go up. Good job from BacT to send enough. And unfortunately for Dark, it's yet another game where he's just not looking up to being able to beat someone of BacT's quality.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, Dark should, he should run around, and he should now castle drop BacT just for the memes.
Yeah. Did he have to commit this heavily to the castle drop defense though?
No.
I mean, if any civ is able to deal with a Mongol castle drop, surely like Italians can at least have a chance, right? Like build your own defensive castle, like try and rush imp, like it's already cheaper, right?
Yep.
And you can build Genoese crossmen to defend, and then maybe you don't insta lose, but like again that move was. He's lost his build lead now. It's kind of even, and as you said, like BacT is in a great position to pressure him.
And now I think BacT. I say this as he still has 3 farms at home, but now I think you start to shift your eco around and try and get some farms out and have better eco behind this as you pressure with Mangadai. But yeah, what I'm seeing here, I mean, game 2 especially was a sign that Dark is, having played against him, and I know we both have. He's playing a bit blah or like a bit sloppy, and some days, at least for me, I feel very together. Like I'm sticking to the meta. I'm getting all my upgrades. I'm macroing, microing. Everything's clean. There's a nice balance here. But we've seen 2 straight games now where it's either all in one thing and nothing of the next, or there's just no balance, right? The previous game, full eco, no water, and then he went 5 Vittoria. This game here, all in, and then had the opportunity to say, okay, let's sit back and casually defensive castle and macro, and then ended up in, no man's land with a bunch of vills. So it just doesn't seem like he just has the confidence or maybe the mentality today.
I'm just not sure that he's even. I guess this Mangado makes things so tricky for him, but if you look at BacT's economy, it's really bad. I mean,
yeah, it's true.
I guess BacT can build another forward castle, which okay, that's what those villagers are looking to do, I think.
Oh man, overtaken style as those Genoese crossbowmen go down, and that was Dark just not patrolling initially and not paying attention, probably because he was macroing, and also, and now getting Bodkinero after losing them really hurts. Where do you build this castle if you're BacT?
That's probably on that gold on the left. I think if you build it on the gold on the left, I can't see how Dark can do anything really. He's got no resources. He's only got wood and stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean about the way Dark is playing. I think this is also down to he probably feels like he's worse than BacT.
Yeah, yep.
Which is probably reasonable. And when you get like I've played against BacT in a tournament series, right? And like you do stuff like I remember I did stuff that I wouldn't normally do just because I felt like I wasn't going to win a normal game.
Yeah.
And then you just play worse. You just make really dumb decisions sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying that Dark has made any really dumb decisions. You just kind of play in a way that you're not really that familiar with.
Yeah, because you feel like playing meta, you'll just lose. So you have to go for something wacky. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Especially after the way game 1 went, right? Like that was a brutal game, right? There was no chance for Dark really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a bit of a shame because I think even in this game, like if he just fixed his economy a little bit, and if he even just got to card stage a minute earlier, like he could just drop his defensive castle immediately and he's fine. Like
he has the Vill lead right now. If he can somehow go imp with 2 castles and start trebbing this back, I mean, there's potential. And BacT has really been patient on where he wants to place this next castle. I really think.
Yeah.
I know it's tough against Mangadai, but maybe your own workshop could have been a good move for Dark.
This is where the game will be decided. This castle here,
I think you need your own castle. I think you sell food.
Yeah.
And buy your own castle, delete some farms right in front of that TC, and drop your own. Personally.
But Dark is building knights now.
Does he want to snipe? Actually, I mean, is there a chance for him to snipe the Mangonel and the Monk and then deny this?
Oh, okay, this is perfect. As you were saying, he's now building his own defensive castle. This is exactly the direction that we were hoping for. Yeah, I think honestly, if this castle goes up 290, problem is he has no gold. Like, what do you do with no gold? How do you really get imp without
Yeah.
losing half of your already like weakened economy, right? Like you have to sell so many resources.
Well,
Wait,
here it
he's gonna
is.
be able to deny this castle, isn't he?
He should be able to deny that castle. BacT. I mean, BacT is now cleaner eco because a lot of villagers were pulled to build that. But I say clean, and I mean, right now he doesn't have the second wood upgrade. He doesn't even have horse color for his farm, so it's not really all that clean. Then again, though, Dark seems a little bit further away from Imp after everything has gone down, and we'll lose a few villagers here. So what a weird game, Hallis, but it's also so entertaining because you just never see games play out like this, and we never see these things on
Yeah.
Hideout, so it's refreshing.
This reminds me of vodka against Slam, actually. A little bit.
Yeah,
Just in the way that was crazy aggression everywhere.
Yep. Yeah, that was an interesting series. Slam up against Vinchester tomorrow. At Vinchester and Dark, I'm sure have been playing a lot to train for their sets. I want to answer a quick question from someone in the chat. Someone had seen the 5 additional maps that are playing in the that are going to be played in the main event. And oh, big moment here. Oh, that's got to be bad.
Why is he moving out? Oh.
Yeah. That hurts big time, man. The monks are there to get some conversions on what's left. Ouch.
Yeah, yeah. Again, this is one of those decisions we were talking about, right? Like, it just doesn't really make sense to move out there. Like, you're not going to win the fight. He's got Mangonels out and a monk. Just defend your eco and go in, you know. And then if
Yeah.
you get Trebs out and Treb the castles, you're fine.
The problem is, I
anyway.
don't think he has eco any. Like, a while ago, he had a lot on food. Look at all the farms he's had to abandon because of the gas.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. He's probably moving out there because he sees the score. He knows he's behind by 2 games, and he feels like, well, I need to do something. So I need to send my units out, and then it just continues to get worse and worse for him. It's really just the pressure of the moment.
Yeah.
No gold right now either. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
He's got all of his golds controlled by BacT. BacT is even going to follow this up with towers. And Mangonel, Mangudai, Monk, Tower. I mean, this is really threatening. And BacT even repairing the Mangonel. Dark, he does not have enough Genoese crossbowmen.
Yeah, and this game is looking really rough now. I with no gold, and even BacT is transitioning a little bit out of it now. He's got 2 town centers with a 9 villager leader. It just, I mean, what can Dark even do at this point? I mean,
yeah, just tough. Oh, nice shot there. These Genoese crossbowmen are so weak. I also feel as though Genoese crossbowmen, even though they should counter something that's like a cav archer in some ways. They still don't trade all that well against Mangudai because Mangudai firing speed is insane. They get 3 shots out before Genoese crossbowman's getting the second one, it feels like. And yeah, just a confident game from BacT again, even though it was messy. Yeah. He just feels like he is the better player here.
And, well, he's showing it, right? He's these games have been... Yeah, GG scored.
Yeah, wow.
These games have been fairly dominant, except that Islands game, which Dark, to be fair, played very well. But, yeah, I mean, what went wrong here, T90, for Dark, really?
I think he got baited into BacT's base initially. Like, it honestly looked so tempting for him to run into BacT's base there. But after everything went down, I think it would have been better for him to just deny that stone with a tower and stick to his game plan of sending the archers inside the tower and shooting it down. Like, if he does that, he probably then doesn't have to Vil fight either, Hallis, so he probably has better macro. And, you know, then BacT maybe goes into a Mangonel later, but then the enemy's in his base. Wow, I just realized that Dark had a villager around here. That's kind of funny. So yeah, I think the strategy was correct logic that Mongols in late game and probably BacT in late game would be superior, so he wanted to pressure early. I don't hate it that much. He was fortunate to see the stone there. He just unfortunately lost his push. And then when BacT castle dropped, should have just, like you said, just let it happen and then plan to protect the next gold and just go up to Imperial Age to maybe treb down these castles. Just didn't have the
I agree completely. I also think some of the problems this game also stem down to the draft because it felt like, I mean, if you're picking Italians on your home map on Hideout, I mean, like, I don't know, it just feels like you've drafted wrong. Like, I can't really... Italians just are not really an amazing kind of closed map. They're just really not an amazing civ on a map like Hideout.
Yeah.
Especially against the options that the BacT had in his arsenal. So it kind of feels like maybe he should have had one more spare civ just in case, or a civ maybe that's more of an all-rounder, like Teuton's. And yeah, it didn't even feel like the Dark should have been this far behind either. It's just his macro at home was so sloppy that his castle stage time was really far behind. Like if you get castle dropped by Mongols and you have your own castle, and as long as you don't lose your gold and you don't get like this kind of snowball push, this is actually all right because if you trap down those Mongol castles, like what is the follow up from Mongol, right? Like
Yeah.
it takes so long for Mongols to take into anything they want to go for, so much economy that actually you could be ahead. Um,
It's
but
like it's almost like BacT was inviting him to tread down his castle. Like, come on,
yeah,
try it, you
that's
know?
what I mean. Yeah, this is why Mongols are not a forward castle civ because it's so risky. If you lose those castles, I mean, can't build anything.
Sure.
Um, so
And
yeah,
BacT has not lost a game yet in the qualifier, as far as I'm aware. And remember, Dark went in as the underdog in the first round and was able to win 3-2. He then moved on to win another set 3-1, and to make it here to BacT. So Dark is worthy of this spot. It's just that BacT is showing that he is BacT is BacT. Is that a thing? I don't know, but there's the resources. There's the KD. I think Dark also coming in here with lack of confidence too. I mean, who could be confident facing up against someone as good as BacT? The next game will be on Cross Hallis, so we don't need to speculate.
okay.
And on Cross, there's maybe one or two civs that stand out for BacT, but I think that you could argue that Dark is going to go into this with better civilizations.
Yeah, definitely. So we're probably looking at Persians, Beers. I mean, maybe Berbers, but probably Persians or Beers for BacT, right? And I think we're almost definitely going to see Lithuanians for Dark. Um, if we do get into that civ matchup, which civ do you favor there?
I'm sorry, you said BacT would go for what?
Either Biz Persians or maybe Berbers.
Okay, yeah. Well, BacT and ACCM are the two who picked Berbers back in Hidden Cup 3 qualifiers. They would lose every single time. But I just remember they like had this infatuation with Berbers back then, and they loved the Camel Archers, and that was a real easy tell for me when BacT and ACCM were playing in the main event. But anyways, I would personally say going Byzantines feels pretty natural here because Persians and their flexibility might work out on something like Bay. And then Berbers might work out for all-ins on Gold Rush. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, my guess would be Byzantines. That's probably what I would do off the draft. And if it is Byzantines versus Lithuanians, Byzantines can really counter any civ. It's just Lithuanians have a sick build order to get a head start.
Yeah.
You also, this is what's tough. If you're in Dark's position, do you want to play for your reputation at this point, or do you want to play for the series? Because if you play for your reputation, you might pick Lithuanians here, thinking that's the best civ. But if you're playing for your reputation, maybe Lithuanians were actually better if you make it to game 5 and game 6, you know? So I guess on the bright side, though, Lithuanians and Japanese, both strong on Bay, both strong on Cross. So I figured if he
Yeah.
gets a win with either civ, he's still going to be in a fine position.
Yeah, I think you just have to play to win. There's if you, like those two of those three games were pretty dominant from BacT.
Yep.
I think you just have to pick your best civ, ignore the series on like the later games because if you lose this, you're out, right? You just have to try and ignore everything, play your best game. Like maybe you'll win, probably not, but you just got to play your best, right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll see. So I want to get back to the question I wanted to answer. Someone was asking about the new maps for the main event. So the qualifier, all the maps are on the screen, and we've seen them all qualifier long. The main event, we've added 5 new maps. I uploaded that video to YouTube, which introduces them. Well, I guess technically, one is new, one is new, but a tweak off of a map from last year, and then 3 additionals. So someone asked me if the top 8, the main event players, were able to test the maps and play with the maps ahead of time. And the answer is no, which is really important because I didn't want the top 8 to have weeks and weeks of prep for those maps ahead of the players who were going to qualify. That'd be extremely unfair. I mean, BacT has been playing a qualifier for 3 weeks. It would not be fair for him to then find out that everyone else had seen the maps. So we've been doing playthroughs. In fact, Hallis was on the team of people who are testing, and I was been doing 1v1s on these maps and testing concepts myself on top of everything for the last couple weeks. So, yeah, the maps were just announced yesterday, and players are now able to look and scheme and think about the main event. But I really do think there's the maps are so different, and they introduce so many potential strategies that the main event's just going to be very, very unpredictable.
It's exciting, man. I can't wait to see some of the some of the more adventurous players make some strategies on some of the maps. Honestly, it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, yeah. And you, one of the players who had maybe seen and tested some of those maps, as anyone in particular that stands out from the new ones?
Oh, any map.
Yeah, yeah. As far as
Oh yeah,
the new maps.
I can't remember the name, but the Bogland one, what's it
Ah,
called again?
yes, Mudflow.
Mudflow. That map is going to be super interesting. I can't wait for some Tasso demo ships or just I think the way that it kind of like forces you to play feudal, but there's also that kind of element of water and the wood being in the middle. I think we're going to see some really interesting games. Um,
Lots of
Also
scouts on that map, I
bypass.
think.
Yeah, lots of scouts, which is always nice because scouts aren't really meta at the moment. They're
Yep.
kind of yeah. Yeah, bypass could be really interesting. Like we'll see. I think it'll be interesting with bypass to see how much that like kind of middle channel differs from normal hideout. Um, because obviously they're quite similar maps, but they probably play out very differently just because you do have like straight access, right?
Very
Um,
differently, yeah. And I think that
yeah.
what's cool about that, as they are starting the next game, and you were correct in calling Lithuanians, and I was correct in calling Byzantines. Uh, if you go into a map like Bypass in the main event, expecting it to play like Hideout, having not practiced, you're going to be in for rude awakening, I think. Now, granted, we were just playing with round one players from the qualifier, but you're still talking about top 50, top 60 players in the world. And anyways, the games and the civs, everything really gets shaken up there. So I'm pumped. And it'll make it more difficult for us to guess who is doing what, too, because it's not like we've seen players play those maps yet.
Yeah, one thing about playing in the qualifiers though is you do get a hell of a lot of forced practice just by playing the series and obviously having to try and qualify it.
True.
It reminds me of kind of Red Bull a little bit where we saw like a lot of qualified players actually do really well. And that might have been because I mean they just could practice all the maps right and they had to just to qualify. Um, but I guess it really depends on what experts are, how much time they're putting in.
Sure, sure.
Um,
Yeah, we'll see. But it looks like they launched the game. I don't know if you found it, but they might have had to
I
restart
can't
it.
find it. Yeah.
Okay, I think they might have restarted for some reason because it wouldn't let me join. So we'll see the next game shortly, everyone. I'm just gonna pan over and show you guys the heroes that will be used for the main event of Hidden Cup 4. Those are all the heroes right there. So 16 hero names. And the way this pans out is after Sunday night, we will have all 16 main event players after the qualifiers have finished. So immediately after that concludes, admin is going to send the players their identity. We also have accounts that were created for them with the game and all that. So similar story there. They say, hey, this is your identity. This is your account. This is your password. I will contact you there for scheduling. And so the players, they say, I can play on this day, this day, this day. And then the admin just says, okay, show up at this time and be ready to play. And then the players will show up. It might be Cobra Car. And then Cobra Car is going to show up to play Philip the Good, having no clue who that is. And, it makes it fun for us, of course, when we start to watch later on, too. So lots of craziness behind the scenes with all that. I'm not actually involved in any of that. But on Monday, we are going to do the bracket live. So I have a randomizer program that Overlay Guy's working on, and we basically randomize the hero bracket. And so this year it'll actually be interactive with the audience. So looking forward to that, man. It'll be kind of fun to see if there's any funny hero matchups in round one. Yeah, my favorite one there is Little John, because Little John shouldn't even be a hero. Little John is a 3 HP, or not 3 HP, a normal spearman, but is listed as a hero in the game because it's in a campaign.
Okay.
So
Okay. I'm liking Cobra Kai to be honest. That's it's going to be interesting though. Do you think we're going to see many upsets from like maybe from what we expect? Like, do you think any of the kind of like outer echelon players like BacT, like Jordan, are going to be able to take any wins from some of the more established players, or do you think we'll just see a kind of a return to the status quo?
I would argue in some ways the only player who's actually been consistent in the Hidden Cups has been Viper. Like, you
Yeah.
think Hidden Cup 1, 2, and 3, Viper, 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 1, right?
Yeah.
Think Hera. Hera, trying to remember. He wasn't high enough rating for Hidden Cup 1. Hidden Cup 2, he lost in round 1 to Vivi. Hidden Cup 3, he made it to the finals and lost to Viper. You think of Leary. Leary Hidden Cup 1, he lost to Miguel in his first round. Hidden Cup 2, he did make it to the semifinals but couldn't play, which was really sad. And then Hidden Cup 3, he lost in the quarterfinals to Tato. Like, I could continue down the name of whoever, like, you might think is in the top 5 right now. And the only player, except for Viper, who has made it to 2 semifinals or more was MVL. And that was Hidden Cup 1 and Hidden Cup 2. And times have changed, too. So it's like, I I have no clue what to expect. All I remember is that the quarterfinals from Hidden Cup 3, there were 4 best of 5s we did on one day. And it was 13 hours because every single best of 5 was just insanity. So I think that the beauty of Hidden Cup is you don't know when the big matchups are going to happen. And that can lead to the first round having better games than the second, potentially. So
I think you are right, though. Have you found the game, by the way?
You know what? I was too busy talking. If it's live, I can hop in, yeah.
Yeah, it's live.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was just going to say that you are completely right. I think people kind of talk a lot about Viper's. It's not even a fall from grace. He's just not winning everything anymore. But if you look at the tournaments he's actually not won, a lot of them have not really been the classic Viper tournaments, right? Where you have this like mixed settings. It's more like Empire Wars, which it seems like he's not as comfortable with. And it was also Masters of Arabia or King of the Desert.
King of the Desert, yep.
King of the Desert, yeah. And we haven't really seen a tournament like Hidden Cup that recently that Viper has actually lost, right? He's lost a couple of Empire Wars ones, and like I was saying, I'm King of the Desert. I still think Viper should be the favorite. Like, he's still so good on these settings. Like, the problem with playing against Viper is that he is ridiculously versatile. Like, he wins like these arena tournaments. Like, he's one of the best players on like water maps. Like, he's one of the best players on hybrid maps.
Yep.
Like, it's just really difficult to see like in a series like where Viper's really gonna lose enough games to lose a series, right?
It's fascinating. But the big takeaway from that, as we're catching up to live speed here, is just the fact that not the fact that Viper is dominated, and of course the Viper has dominated, and there's plenty to talk on there. It's just the fact that there's no clear number 2 in Hidden Cup. Like, players have shown to. It's not as if they were even losing to other players in the top 5 in some cases. So players just don't seem to be having the best time sometimes. What on earth? Hold on a second. Okay, so BacT first thing, he's up 3-0. He goes forward to try and lame and find the enemy. He finds the enemy. He's actually sending a villager forward. And is he going to wall in the main gold?
I think he is.
What? Have mercy on him. He's just 16 years old, man. What?
Oh, no.
I'm so confused by this because what's funny is he could actually steal the sheep with that villager. He just doesn't know that. Now he's not even walling in the gold. Is he maybe going for the boar back there or something? Well, that's not going to happen.
Has he scouted the boar? He has scouted the boar. Maybe he is going for that.
The enemy would never expect you to wall in the gold in the back of the base. So now he's just going to wall in this gold. I think this is BacT having fun at this point. He's feeling good.
I am not sure what this is. I mean, the thing is, like, he's going to wall these golds in, right? But he didn't wall in the main gold.
Yeah.
So, like, why send the villager, then not wall in the main gold, and then wall in the second gold? I mean, he can still just build a mining camp on his main gold. Like, it's not really.
Oh man. Well, let's talk about BacT's the other aspects of BacT's strategy here. He still hasn't docked yet, and on cross, normally it's about fighting for control of the pawns. He has not gone for a dock, and this would be if he doesn't dock a first. I've never seen someone play this map and not dock yet in the qualifiers, and that's through all the rounds.
I mean, I think he's sending this village in. Oh no, that's looking for a boar, I think. Or is he sending that to dock? Yeah, no, I think he's sending this village on the right hand side.
No.
To dock?
This one is bringing in a boar. I don't know what is happening.
Maybe his first dock is going to be on Dark's Lake. Maybe that's his strategy.
What?
Yeah, look. There it goes. That's the villager.
Dark is going to be so confused if he sees blue fishing ships in here. Like, typically, you fish your own pond or, a pond that's safer. That way you can have the fishing ships out. So I really don't agree with this strat because Dark should have a faster feudal age time now because of the food. But Dark is probably never going to even scout the left side of his pond. If he's expecting some type of a landing, he'd probably go to the right with a fishing ship to check. So
I agree, but the one thing I really dislike about what BacT has done is that I love this strategy, kind of. Well, okay, I don't know if I love it, but I think it's definitely like workable.
Yeah.
But why wall in the gold and the both golds, right? Because if Dark scouts that, he knows, oh, there's a
Yeah.
villager close, and what's a villager gonna do on 4 lakes, right? He's gonna dock your lake.
Yep.
So I think as long if he scouts his gold, he should immediately like check, and then if he checks, like I mean, BacT just hasn't built 4 fishing boats. He's just behind economically, right?
Exactly.
It's kind of an odd one.
What's also kind of odd to me, though, is how Dark somehow doesn't have a bigger Vil lead. Because, I mean, he is on his way to feudalage a bit faster. Oh, okay, he scouted it. They're fishing the same Dorado over here. He's probably so freaking confused. But it's like, typically you dock the enemy pawn to take the fight to them. In this case, it's almost like the castle drop in the previous game. BacT is like, hey, I'm here. Kill me now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, it's an invitation.
I do see what you mean, though. I don't. It's kind of odd how Dark isn't up more villagers.
Yeah. Oh my god,
Has
the
he had
villager
any-
now.
any
BacT is
idle
BacT.
time,
What are
or-
you doing, man? What? Quick walling. Oh, the sheep need to be saved. What on earth is this? Dark clearly sees how awkward this gold is going to be now. I'd feel a little flexed on if I was Dark right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
Look at the
well,
quick walls.
we'll see. If BacT loses this game, then I think we'll be saying something else about it.
True.
Um,
That's very true. Well, it will be 2 docks in the north for Dark, who is in feudal, has not made a fire galley yet. Now is doing so. Byzantines do have faster firing fires, plus higher HP docks, which is nice. But in theory, if Dark can get the res, he should have 2 fire galleys in the north and be fine. BacT villager also could go down here in a second. No, it won't. He's too good at that. And now the villager's saved again. So yeah, back to round 3 for Dark in this boxing fight. What a weird moment. But you know what's awkward about this is Dark is so preoccupied by the villager in the pond. He's left the front of his base wide open, and BacT is going to go for Spearman. This might be a full-on trash play with Byzantines.
this could be really difficult when you start having to micro in like multiple locations. You got to deal with the forward dock, right? And then you have to deal with like a forward biz play.
Yep.
I mean, he doesn't even have a barracks yet, right? I mean,
Yeah, he
it's
doesn't.
difficult to see. Yeah, like what does Dark pull up now? I think he's probably gonna win the pond back, right? But like, what is his land play?
Well, if you're up against trash units and you have food income from fish, it's not the end of the world to switch into your own trash units with Lithuanians. You should have food. He's got plenty of sheep. He's got plenty of wood. So he's going to tower his gold now after losing the scout there. And I think catching an eye. Yep, he knows now. Okay, this is going to be Byzantine trash flood. So I'd say, honestly, just try and match the trash as much as you can. Wall up where you can. And then make sure you just don't lose your fish. Because that could be really bad.
Yeah, I'd say that's about right. I think Lithuanian skirms are really, really nice in trash mirror, right? Just because they move faster, so you can micro them so much easier.
Yep.
So as long as he keeps these fish alive, as you said, and he builds a skirm number and a skirm mass without taking too much economic damage, he definitely has a solid chance to hold on in this game.
I don't know how these villagers keep getting here. Now there's 2 villagers next to the dock for BacT as he's repairing. Again, Dark is
that's so
distracted by
annoying.
this. Like, it is annoying. That's the word for it. And you don't know where to prioritize your focus. And if you guys know BacT, he's so quick and his mouse control is so insanely good. It just is a gifted player, and that he should be able to have the edge in all these little moments here. He's even fighting with his villagers. How awkward is this? Yeah, I would just be so frustrated. Like, Dark is he's winning the game right now. But past a certain point, if BacT can continue to annoy him, I could easily see this getting out of control.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Dark right now, this feels so uncomfortable. Like you have no real map presence. Your opponent's just going like full trash into your base, and they've got a dock on your lake. This is the most uncomfortable I think you can be in a game.
Yeah. Yeah. And your berries are exposed too. He can't even take that. He is going to make some of his own skirmishers, though. And BacT is actually mixed in an archer with that group. A great micro from Dark. Look at that. Saving the Vil. Using his own Vils against the archer for now. That's not easy to do. And maybe should pull some of these weak ones back again here. But again, we can clearly see that there's weak villagers here. But he's got 20 different things to do right now. This sucks to play, man. I honestly, I feel so bad for Dark because this is one of the worst types of games you can play, and it's not very
Yeah,
fun
it
at
is.
all.
Yeah, this is awful. But that being said, he is doing okay. I mean, BacT hasn't docked anywhere else. So
Yep.
like BacT has only docked one pond, which was his opponent's. Um, yeah, but the thing is, BacT is now doing reasonably well on water. Um,
I
Still
think
being really annoying with those villagers as well, right?
I don't know what you think about this, but and it's almost impossible to have the presence of mind to do this. But what about sending a villager through your walls, opening up your walls on the left side, and just docking another pond? Like, dock another pond because the focus is here, and then you can maybe freely fish there as opposed to like your pond currently, which you're constantly focusing on.
Yeah, I think that would be definitely that would be a really, really like you said, you have to have a lot of clarity of mind to do a play like that.
Hmm.
And I think maybe he will. I think to be honest, there's just too much going on right now. Like I think that maybe a little bit unreasonable.
Yeah,
Like once he clears the stock up, I think then you should definitely be focusing on getting another pond out.
yeah,
But if you look at his wood as well, he's got to refresh that lumber camp very soon. Otherwise, he's gonna have wood issues.
true. Yep.
So it's kind of difficult to see where the wood would come from for the dock.
Well, he has skirms out, and the skirms should easily take out these skirms and archers from BacT. And they're fast Lithuanian skirmishers with fletching, but BacT is now getting fletching too. That and maybe even taking the hunt on the left side. I don't know how much he scouted. Let's see. Yeah, again, having the clarity of mind to be able to figure that out, but taking that with a mill would be very helpful. And overall, it's a big eco lead for the Russian.
Yeah,
And
he's already up 7 villages. Yeah.
He's done a good job, but he could lose 6 of them if he loses water. That's the big problem here.
Yeah, so we were talking about docks, and it looks like Dark is preparing to build a dock on the right-hand side. I'm not sure if I'm too keen of that one. I would prefer, like you said, just dock out of the way, build more eco lead. But that dock on the right-hand side is also really good in case BacT does dock later on, and you're getting like really nice pond control from that. Question is now though, what do both players do? Like, does BacT just keep being annoying?
Past a certain point, I think the play is to bash your head against the wall. This is this is crazy, man. This reminds me of those old games, from like I think the very first Age of Empires tournament had a prize pool of like $100,000. It was a best of one, and the meta back then
is that the Baltic? Yeah.
I think it was just trash, right? It was just a lot of skirms and spears and towers. That's what this kind of reminds me of.
Yep.
It reminds me of the days where there was like 3-second delay on all movements from the players. It just making it messy would behoove you. So, but yeah, I think you try and write your eco, and if it starts to feel right to go not Imperial but Castle Age, then go for that. But BacT is just staying here, being a constant threat and being so annoying.
And that tower on the berries is really annoying as well because it prevents a really nice and stable source of economy. Like even though like you can get the ponds out and you can get pond control, the berry's always nice in case you do get docked, right?
Yeah.
And in case like he starts sniping some of these fishing boats with his forward dock. That being said though, I mean, Dark still has a 10 villager lead, and BacT's economy again at home is not amazing.
No, it's not. What is interesting about it is we can really see the difference between economy numbers and efficiency. I don't even think the idle eco and idle TC and all these stats that capture are just showing me is completely accurate to the situation. Because yes, Dark has been tasking villagers to work, but like the stone, for example, 13 villagers on stone. Do you really want 13 villagers on stone right now? Like BacT, honestly, his eco is also garbage.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It is 2 farms, but at least maybe they're not being retasked. I like the fact that Dark wants to go for the stable and maybe mix in some scouts. What I don't like is how the stable's been denied, and then he didn't even try and hide that move. That could have been a bit better.
I'm not sure if I like the stable play, to be honest, with the way his economy is. Like,
that's true too. Yeah.
I think just full skirm and then get castle age, like you said, is fine. I think full skirm, if he gets castle age before the BacT, who has a miserable economy, then that should be a pretty easy cleanup. But like you see BacT already building spearmen, right? Like those scouts are not going to do a whole lot.
Yeah, that's true. You just mix in some spearmen if you're worried about the scouts. Yeah, I mean, maybe just maintain skirm numbers and macro your way. He's starting to add some farms now. No double bid axe and no horse colors. So when that pressure came in, that was the time where he'd want to get those eco upgrades and ended up either not having the resources or forgetting about it. But at the end of the day, Dark has wood, Dark has food. Even non-horse color farms, I think, is better than the 4 farms that BacT has at home. And
The issue
also
now,
fishing
though,
ships
is
on the right side. So
yeah, that's what I was about to say. The fishing ships have gone down now, so well, he's still up 8 villagers. So it's not actually that bad.
yeah.
Um,
Good micro there too with the scout. He tempted the spearman to go after it and picked it off. And here's going to try that again. Let's see if he can micro it down. Microing the spearman down. Well, they'll trade it. No new scout on the way. But I think, honestly, just start making defensive towers everywhere if you're Dark. And really start to focus on more on that eco. And what the? BacT is building a range in the back of Dark's base.
oh my goodness. One thing I do want to point out though, T90, is BacT's economy is dreadful. I know I keep saying this, but he's got 900 wood and 400 gold. I mean, he's got 30 on wood right now. I don't know how, but he's got 30 on wood.
And if you just got here, I'm sure there's a lot of people out here who are just thinking, how is BacT ahead 3 games playing like this? A few of these games have been messy, but I think BacT is realizing, let's just make this crazy for the next game. Let's give some entertainment for the viewers. He did not play the other games quite like this. But the thing is, does Dark notice the ranges are there? He really needs to drop a tower there, wall it in or something. He's got so many areas to focus on. That could actually hurt him, man. Archers are being created out of that range. You also have a barracks back there. What on earth is this?
Also, BacT is also docking on the right-hand side on Dark's remaining safe pond. So that will soon be under pressure.
And Dark just waltzed through BacT's base with a villager. And BacT didn't even react to it because he's so focused on the front. And I guess this is Dark trying to dock and threaten the pond for BacT, but BacT just has 1 fishing ship. So I have no clue what to even focus on right now. This is crazy, Hallis.
Yeah, this is insane. It's absolutely insane.
And BacT is clearly not focusing here because he's now losing his skirmishers underneath the TC.
Goodness.
Too much to look at, man. And he's microing the archers. That's what he was doing. He was microing the archers and killing villagers. And now Dark with the tower, which is a good reaction. And Dark's on the way to Castle Age. I think Dark's going to get his victory.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good despite everything that's happened.
Yeah.
Those spearmen and archers will be cleaned up by those skirms, and his transition, he's already got the stable. Should be able to build a couple knights. I mean, BacT's economy is it's hardly very well protected.
Yeah, true. The archers are not protected. BacT actually has demos in that dock. This guy's done everything to be as annoying as possible. But the skirms don't need to get close to the shoreline. The archers are just stuck there. I also notice, I think you mentioned this, I even got distracted with everything that was going on, but BacT is going to try and threaten the right side, which I feel is a good play, but I still would like the food count and resources for Dark, and the ability to make knights soon is huge.
Yeah, I think this reminds me of Dark in the Hideout game, right? Except BacT this time. Like,
yeah,
they were focusing so much on the
the demo comes in, man.
No.
Oh, the skirms. How did they die from there? They must have been some weak skirmishers. Oh, and then the skirm and the archer goes down. Well, that's fair. BacT, you're such a troll, man. But yeah, you're right. It's the other side of the spectrum here. Here, BacT has gone too YOLO. He hasn't had enough eco to really get reward from this.
Yeah, I think if he had snuck that villager and had just played normally with his own dock, I think maybe he would be in a much better position. But like Dark had that trickle of food for so long, right? Like it's kind of hard when you've got like 2 fishing ships that get killed immediately and no dock to really sustain villager production when you don't build farms.
Yeah, it's going to be complicated from here, and so yeah. I hope that Dark can close this out, because for people who missed it, the second game, Dark should have won that game. He was way ahead. He had good civilizations, good position. Everything just looked perfect for him. And unfortunately, he couldn't close that game out. If he would have closed that game out and then would get a win here, he'd still very much be alive in the series. A reverse sweep is still possible, right? But let's see if he can close this out and then maybe plan for the future, as he does have enough stone for a castle. He's getting chain barding, or was just completed chain barding for the knights. I mean, he can do so much with this position.
Yeah, he could. He's in the driving seat right now.
Yeah.
He's also done a great job to dock the bottom pond, and he's now killed all BacT's fishing ships.
Yep.
Which is really impressive considering everything that's going on.
Yeah. And he's gonna try and drop a castle here in the front. I mean, this castle is needed, man. If that can go up, he can take his berries again. He can clear out the ranges and some of the houses here, and maybe even mix in a Latus or two. I'd kind of like to see that. with the knights, considering the upgrades. And it'll also protect the golds. I think there's a few small things that Dark could be doing better, like maybe just noticing that he hasn't gotten a few eco upgrades. But overall, man, he's survived. He's weathered the storm. He's sending knights over to hit backspace. And BacT feels like forever feudal at this point.
Yeah, whoa, BacT is committing to scouts and spearmen, it looks like. He's getting forging and +1 defense for the scouts.
Huh.
So I guess he's just going to try and defend with full feudal, like you said.
That's going to be rough considering his buildings are so random. He's got archer range and barracks in the north. Then he's got an archer range near that castle that's about to go up. Now he's making a stable at home. He doesn't actually have a barracks at home. He's got it in the middle. Sorry, I can't even keep track of where his buildings are. The market and blacksmith and houses are random. This is like, it's like a normal base exploded and went to a couple different areas of the map.
Yes, yeah, this is a crazy game. I mean, maybe he's been taking some advice from Song or something. With the
That's so true. Yep. That's very true. Song would play this way. And what is this from BacT on the left? He's got the scouts coming in. Two villagers. It feels like he might tower that wood line, and then if you were to swoop in with the scouts, could actually kill a few villagers there.
I can't help but feeling that the Dark, he's not done anything with his castle age. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see any units really. Like, what is he? Like, he should be going forward with like 5 knights, raiding everywhere. Like, BacT should not be able to be building a forward tower in his wood right now, or raiding him with scouts, or having 5 spearmen under his tower. Like where is the map presence from Dark? Like,
I think so. He's just prioritized eco a bit more. He didn't want to have a fragile castle age, so he got both of his wood upgrades. He didn't have any of them. Got his farm upgrade. He's now going to add a TC. So he's basically, instead of trying to go for the kill here, I think he's shifting into getting an eco lead. And there's pros and cons to that, right? If you don't go for the kill, and then you keep the enemy in the game, they could sometimes overwhelm you with less economy in this position. So I guess he feels like, I'm going to take a 10-15 villager lead, be happy with that. But honestly, I'd be a little terrified if I was the weaker player and I didn't kill off BacT there. BacT could have pikemen, he could have skirms, he's got randomness everywhere, it's messy. BacT's giving himself a chance, maybe.
I don't think I think BacT is fine here, honestly. If you look at the bill count, it's pretty even. I mean, BacT is almost castle age, right?
Yeah.
So, like, the thing is with BacT is that, yes, that castle is good and it defends its gold, but, like, the left side and the right side is pretty hard to defend against the siege push, right? Like, if BacT gets pikemen, like, and mangonels and maybe some knights and camels, like, what does he really have against that? Although, that being said, Dark is finally doing what we were saying, right? On the right-hand side, he does have units raiding.
Yeah, I think it's just this game, nothing's going to be pretty about it, and it's very hard in the moment to understand what should be prioritized. Now, BacT in the south, back on water, how? I think I've almost understated how good BacT has been. Just staying alive in all the different areas with the ranges.
Oh, yeah,
Like, he's never... It's not even just the fact that Dark isn't gone for raids. This is the second or third time he showed up with knights. BacT is always defending. Look at that. Stone gates and houses, and now has spearmen and camels out. I thought he was going to lose the south. He didn't lose that. He actually has the left side. He also has the right side right now. I think that we're going to see BacT keep this game competitive, but I want to point out again that Dark is on 3 TCs right now. And so 3 town centers pretty solid when you have that head start, and does now have a 10 villager lead.
Yeah, you're completely right, and the BacT has played this like incredibly
Really
well. Considering that he sent a villager forward straight away, which is just obviously 1 less villager on wood, and he didn't have any fishing boats essentially. He had 2 that died immediately, so he had no economy. And the fact that he's even in this game is pretty impressive. I can't help but feeling that maybe Dark could have been a little bit more aggressive in early castle age.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, maybe a bit more. And I think he's booming too much. I think that's the problem. Like, he's going for a 4th town center. And this is very weird if he actually gets it up. It's right next to his castle. It does protect the stone. And he did just bring in relic number 1 with Lithuanians. That's pretty cool. But maybe this is too boom focused. He actually doesn't have a single pond controlled right now. Though in the south, he's trying to remain competitive there. I can't tell. I feel like BacT, he opened this up with a way that he would never, ever do in the main event because the level play is so high. And because his level play is so high, he's actually made it work. And poor Dark has just been he might just be frightened or lacks the confidence to ever really take a fight to BacT, and he's just hoping that he can boom it out, you know?
Yeah, I think again, it's one of those things. I've been in a situation before. Like, you kind of just make some of the wrong decisions. Like, I feel like players that are at that higher level of decision making, like BacT, like when they see a window of being in castle age for like 2 minutes before your opponent, you will die there. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
game is over for you
Yep.
if this is BacT playing in the opposite. But like because Dark, like you're saying, isn't as confident, like he doesn't really feel like he can do that, right? So
Yeah.
instead he booms and he gets the eco lead, and you know that's completely reasonable of a play. But I feel like some players, like especially at the very top, they have this killer instinct, right? Like they see a chance to win a game, they're not gonna give BacT the chance to even, get to like the mid game, right? Um,
Look at the latest go here. So
oh my
latest
god, yeah.
probably the better. Well, he didn't commit to the fight. I think he could win that fight, but I feel like latest are the go-to if you have a castle and the enemy's making camels and pikemen. That's the way it should work, anyways. And he's got one relic, so a little bit of extra attack on there. But the reaction from BacT, he's making camels, he's got pikemen, he gets a conversion. Also, Garrison his TC on the front is going to send in camels at the same time to take out the Mangonel. I mean, look at all the blinking on the minimap. How on earth is BacT able to focus everywhere he needs to be every single time? It's incredible. But also on the wood line, he tried to quick wall at the same time, and Dark was able to get through.
Okay, really important castle on the right hand side there. If Dark gets this castle up, I think he is secure, like firmly in the driving seat. Like he can just pressure BacT's economy so easily, whilst also denying a wood and a gold
Yeah,
and two
true.
town centers, right?
That's a big spot. Yeah, that castle. I mean, you take out 2 town centers and you secure the resources and you already have the eco lead. It's pretty nuts. I see BacT on the left with the siege workshop, but not sure if there's anything really to back that up yet. Unless he's going to drop his own castle. He actually has the stone.
Honestly, though, I think Dark has done an amazing job with his economy. I think maybe I was too critical because if you look at how many farms he has, like his economy is really, really good right now.
Yeah,
Like he's got good upgrades. Like BacT only has the fishing, and if you took away the fishing, like BacT's economy is really not very strong. And those fish will run out, right?
BacT is going to go Imp Alice. It's cheaper for Byzantines to do that. I think his plan with this forward castle the enemy, go Imperial, and start trebbing down everything. If it wasn't... You know how earlier when Dark had a poor game 1, we said if he wasn't Saracens, that he wouldn't have been able to keep it competitive?
Yeah.
You could argue that if BacT wasn't Byzantines, he wouldn't be able to keep it competitive right here. Because a normal Imperial Age cost would be... It'd be a rough position because the enemy would probably be an Imp faster, and then you'd be behind an Eco. You can make cheap units and Imp faster here and give Dark some real problems if you're Byzantines. And look at BacT with the conversions. You're kidding.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is why I wouldn't want to give BacT any chances in my games.
Yeah,
just for that reason exactly. How does Dark react to this now though? Do you think he knows that BacT is going Imperial Age?
I think he does, but he has to get gold. He can't take that gold that was walled up in the Dark Age. Now he's trying to drop a castle to secure this gold, but that's being denied by camels. He does have gold elsewhere, but it's really tough to know what to do against Fast Imperial, and especially when everything's so clunky. Like, imagine patrolling a military unit from anywhere in Dark Space towards BacT Space. You're going to run into a house, or a barracks, or an outpost. Like, you're going to run into something before you encounter a unit. So, it's so awkward to be able to move out, and you just feel, like, claustrophobic almost, because there's nowhere to go. Sorry.
Yeah, and the thing is as well is you have this trouble with Lithuanians. It's like, what unit do you actually build here? Because, I mean, sure you can go for latest, but BacT will just build the Haubs, right? And the Haubs with Trebs, you don't really have an answer until you get like Bombard Cannon, and either like an overwhelming massive latest, right? Like it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy, and it's probably one of the real weaknesses for Lithuanians is that they're a little bit one-sided. I think still you could go for your own skirms and maybe skirm latest in this situation. Like skirms against the Haubs and then latest for everything else would be the hope. But the downside with that is you're using castles to produce the latest. You could lose castles soon. You can't really kill with skirmisher if latest ends up not being an option. So I don't know, man. It's just BacT. Honestly, BacT is just such a beast. It's made this game so fun.
He is playing so well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah. I think one thing that if you do go later skirm, I mean, full heavy camel could still be really strong against that, right? Like
Hmm.
it's not like heavy camel like full halb. I still think that's pretty pretty difficult to trade cost effectively with the latest.
Oh my god, look at the resources for Dark too. I mean, he's on his way to Imperial Age, and he has those resources. Feels like that's a dream scenario for Lithuanians. Plus having 3 relics. That's also sick, but is this actually winnable for him? I think it's winnable, but it's awkward, and BacT has shown how much of an annoying player he can be.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
my goodness,
Um,
man.
I think Dark has done a really good job to stabilize though, and he
Yeah.
definitely has strong chances in this, right? Like BacT can't really afford Halberdier right now, which is yeah, he just doesn't have the gold.
We've got to pause here. BacT has made the game so stressful, he needs to take a smoke break. This is incredibly common for BacT. And so if he makes it into the main event, just remember that he likes to pause the game. And now, funny fact about that, Hallis, I don't know if you remember all the details. It was the, I think, second or third set. I mean, anyways, it was one of the early sets for Hidden Cup 3. Player picks, I think it was Aztecs, went forward to try and lame early, and then about 2 minutes in, paused for temporarily. And I was like, this has all the signs of BacT. Game 1, I'm like, okay, someone's telling me it might have been Dark that paused. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Dark did
Story
pause,
needs
yeah.
to be told anyways. We don't know who paused because of Cap's Rage. But as we come back, it was lame attempt, and then quick pause, and I'm like, that's got to be BacT. And after all was said and done, it actually was him. He does not try and hide it at all. So, yeah, I guess Dark had just paused the game there for whatever reason. Maybe his cat was on the keyboard, and we're back in business.
Yep. The question with Dark now is, as you were saying, like, he's gonna lose his castles, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least most of them. Like, what is his follow-up here? Like,
skirm. I think you need a lot of skirms. He's adding the ranges now. It's a little concerning to me. He's just clicking elite skirm, but I think skirm latest is what you do. But maybe you could argue switching out of latest because you're about to lose castle number 2 on the left.
yeah, I mean, one thing that Dark is doing really well is he's constantly raiding BacT's economy. Like, BacT still has 110 villagers, but I mean, Dark has, you know, a 40 villager lead, which is obviously pretty nice, especially at this point in the game. Yeah, I do worry. Like, losing those castles, he's just gonna lose his power unit, right? Like, I think if you're just on skirm hustle, I feel like Byzantines can actually perform quite well if they just go camel, right?
If Byzantines could just kill... Like, honestly, the one thing Byzantines would really struggle with, if they're going full trash units, would be civilizations that can go for champion. But then Byzantines with castles can make cataphract. Byzantines are the classic counter everything civ. So it's just... BacT kept this competitive. I mean, look at Dark. He's got these latest and skirms, and they're taking out houses, barracks, and a siege workshop. BacT is just constantly showing up with something, and Dark is unable to really push out. This game continues to go on. There's a sneaky castle with 1 villager. I guess others were there, and he walled it in for Dark. But Dark needs to get some real way to deal with the front, and I just don't know if there's an option for him right now.
Yeah, I feel the same. Again, this is why, again, like, BacT just hitting these like really nice timings. He knows that Lithuanians, again, they need a little bit of time, right?
Yeah.
They need some time. If you let them get to like 4 elite latest with like relics, like, that, you're gonna be in trouble. But he knows. He goes fast in, 4 trebs. He gets rid of the castles, and now like it's really difficult to see like where Dark really goes with this game. You know?
I'm sitting here just relatively confused. And it's like, I look at the population. They have 180 population, but it feels like each player has 30 or 40 population that they don't know where to place on the map. Actually, that might end up being the water population. It's confusing me, but seriously, man. Like, BacT does have this area on the right, and Dark's been trying to raid that. BacT is kept the vills alive and sending halbs over that way. Now you've got some latest running through the middle. You've got a castle on the left for Dark, and he's going to raid with latest on the left. He's actually getting some really big kills here, Hallis.
Yep, he's doing a great job. I love how he took the map on the sides.
Yeah.
Like when he was being pushed in the middle, because he knew he needed that space, and that he could also deny BacT the space, and also raid his economy. The one
Downside
difficulty
is... Yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought.
yeah, so I was just gonna say that castle is now being trebbed down as well, so he is gonna lose that map control.
Wow. But, I mean, he did just kill a lot of villagers. It is still 200 pop versus 160, but this might also be the case of an overboom boom for Dark. He's got 155 villagers. I think when... And Hallis, you know this, as I guess this is another pause? It must be it. When it's a late game scenario and you're constantly being raided, I mean, both players have lost so many villagers. You're cycling through your TCs, and sometimes you go into autopilot, and you create a bit too much. And so that's where Dark's at. But he's still killing a lot. I see Lightcav here in the very south, killing villagers, and BacT is now below 100 villagers. That really hurts.
Yeah, I think BacT is on that threshold of this game snowballing like miles out of his control. Like they'll get to a point where he can't even afford to build halberdiers to defend his economy anymore. Like that's how much he's losing in terms of eco. Also, like all of his fishing boats, well, not all of them, most of them are either on fish traps or like idle.
Yeah, true.
So that source of food has kind of like dwindled for him. Yeah, the issue now is stabilizing, right? He's literally got half the villagers that Dark does.
And Dark has done a great job. I don't know how he has 60 plus on food because of all these pushes. Like, he's lost town centers, I think. He's lost castles, but he's continued to do it. I would honestly suggest that he make a few rams and clear up some of these houses. He's got like 30 skirms in his eco right now. If he could just clear up some of this, and even the sneaky barracks, which continues to spam in units, it would be so much easier for him to think about getting some skirms with his cav in BacT's eco. Because BacT actually does not have a counter to skirmisher right now.
Yeah, that's very true. And BacT doesn't have the eco to switch into anything else, right?
Yep.
He's done a great job of making sure that the BacT is just... He's streamlined into this how play, right? The only difficulty is that BacT is still able to push in one location pretty strongly because Dark doesn't have access to latest, right?
Yep.
So like BacT can just go and take out all of like Dark's town centers, all of his castles. Is it going to be enough though, T90? I'm really not sure.
I feel like, again, if the roles were reversed, BacT would win from Dark's position. But I'm looking on the right side as we see a new castle actually going up for Dark. He's going to lose one. And then on the left side, he's just lost a town center, and he's going to lose 2 monasteries, which means -2 relics, which means minus attack in his units. I mean, it's 150 vills for Dark. He's completely outmassed with military. BacT doesn't need eco. It's Byzantines, man. 82 military? Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I've actually learned late game, is that sometimes you don't want to raid your opponent because less, like, especially civs like Bears, like Mayans, Aztecs, like the more you kill their villagers, the more they have just really annoying units everywhere. And obviously with a civ like Lithuanians, you want to be building hustle, so you need those like 130 villagers. But like this, I mean, you don't necessarily need... I mean, you don't want 75 villagers, that's for sure, but you don't necessarily need 130.
I think, like, honestly, I think that BacT is going to close this out here. Look at this. He's got trebs everywhere. There's just so much spam for him, man. And Dark is actually sacrificing villagers right now. So maybe he'll have more skirms on the field in a second, which would be huge. But still, it feels like he's losing so much ground.
Yeah, and he just has no unit that can really deal with both the Haubs and the Trebs, right? Like, he's got, I guess he's got bombard cannons, which he's using now.
Yeah.
But he's only got one. But like, again, with skirms, you can't really take out the Trebs in time, right? They've got so much pierce armor.
Ooh, well, it's, you know what? The bombard cannon changing things a little bit here. And the amount of skirmishers, it's almost like after he lost the Vills, suddenly he goes up with military.
Yeah,
and now he has 80 military. So wait a second. He just shot up by 40 military. Maybe he does have a chance. And he can swing this back and get a win here. The trebuchet goes down. The bombard cannon stays alive. And you could even use the bombard cannons to push the castle in the middle if you're Dark.
Yeah, I mean, it will take a while, but it definitely will get that castle down eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, is this game going to stabilize? They're both on 100 villages roughly. I feel like this game might... There might be a while left on this game, I'm not sure.
There's 60 skirms on the field right now. And how many... What can BacT really do against that? If the skirms are in one big ball, his Halbs have no chance. I guess he could make Lightcav, but he's kind of missing a lot of upgrades there.
Well, apparently he can convert Dark's Lightcav and use them against him. So
yeah, that's true. Also,
that's
Dark being very attentive on the left, man. There's so much to focus on. So both players playing out of their minds right now, and that castle will eventually go up, but that's another area that Dark was able to expand to, which is nice. He'll take the middle. He does not have any relics right now, but then again, he's not really making any Latus or Cavaliers, so as far as the attack goes, it's not really benefiting from the relics anyways.
Yeah, he is getting hostile now, which is really nice.
Okay.
He is building himself up right for that really strong late game. Just hostile skirm should be enough. Especially the fact that the BacT doesn't really have any economy to build hostiles of its own, right?
Look at the villagers killed and lost in this game. The eco KD is insane. There have been so many raids in this game, and the raids have been so very different too. It's really crazy. But House, the reason I was laughing is because BacT is being such a pest, man. He's got these barracks up against the edge of the map, and he continues to spam halbs in towards. Well, now there's just farms there, but there's been that gold pile there, and BacT just refuses to quit, man.
I mean, if you look in the north as well, he's somehow got like 5 halbs in Darkswood line. I don't know how they even got there.
Oh my god. It's probably that barracks in the middle of the freaking map, dude. He's producing out of it. Yeah, yep. he just continues to spam units left and right to various areas. But for the first time in a long time, Dark actually has a ball that he could slow push BacT's eco with. Before it was just raids. Now, BacT could actually lose his main eco, and his eco hasn't been that strong anyway. So this is where BacT really starts to feel like he needs something now or the game might even be over.
Yeah, I think Dark has done an amazing job to stabilize this much.
Yeah.
I think you're even right. The thing that made him stabilize was just losing 40 villages.
Yeah.
Like, because you just have more military, right? And the problem with BacT and the way he was playing is that he just had a 40 villager lead, right? So there was just constant raids everywhere. And because Dark didn't have the economy, he couldn't deal with it. I didn't have the military, sorry, he couldn't deal with it. But now, the thing is, if BacT does get to hostile, like, I think he still actually has a win condition. Because if he, the Dark's economy is like so open, right? Like there's no way he defends that against hostile raids.
Yeah. And the economy, as BacT is trying to tech switch into something else right now and get his farms up, he is being threatened in enough areas where it's kind of running out of space here to maybe get a tech switch in. He's going for capped ram right now, but the siege workshops are going down.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Dark should close this out.
Yeah,
he's so far ahead right now.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, the way BacT has played this game, I mean, nothing is certain, right?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think what you do if you're in Dark's position is you just continue to fight with skirms and your own trash units. Wait until you have, well, he's getting there. Wait until you have a lot of gold banked up, and then go either Elite Latus or Cavalier. You just use that gold to finish off the game. You just don't want to trickle it in. When you end up investing into the gold units, make sure it's the blow that counts. And that would probably do it, if he even needs it, right?
Yeah.
Dude, what a game. And finally, BacT taps out. I mean, he kind of handicapped himself a little bit playing like this. What an entertaining game. The 16-year-old gets a win finally in this best-of-7 decider. And probably the most entertaining game of the series, man. That was just... Type a 1 in Twitch chat if you got secondhand anxiety for Dark throughout that game. Like, oh my goodness, dude. The amount of pressure that was coming in, the random buildings and spam. Forget your build orders, man. When you're playing against BacT makes it a different game, Hallis. But what was the key, I suppose, for Dark? It was a long game, but what was the key?
I think, honestly, it was resilience and confidence, really. I feel like he was able to just always constantly keep villagers going, keep his economy relatively safe. And he's so good at doing, like, the boom in Imp, right? Where he has these 40 Cs. He always keeps them running. Like, we saw he always had, like around 50 farms, even when, like, every castle was being trapped, like, even when every TC was being trapped. So I think he was constantly macroing, and despite BacT putting him under so much pressure, like, he was able to kind of snowball the Vil lead, and that kind of led to the victory.
Well, good news for us is that means we get another game.
Exactly,
and maybe more if Dark can show us what he's capable of on these upcoming maps. There's the KD for you. Yo, Christ, thank you. 500 kills are almost for Dark. Economically, I mean, this is just a testament to BacT. Economically, Dark had food, wood, stone, and gold. He was ahead in every single category, and it was way ahead in every category. And then the other thing is, at one point, there were like 3 or 4 relics collected for Lithuanians. If Lithuanians have relics and that much eco, it should not take them that long to finish off a game.
Yeah. I mean, if you even look at the KD as well, the KD and the economy, like, how is this a close game?
That's true.
Like, what?
That's true. Look at the timeline there, yeah. But it was just the military count for BacT, it was consistently higher until Dark sacrificed some villagers, and I think maybe I don't actually know who paused, but maybe they paused to fix keyboard, or maybe a hotkey, or maybe Dark just needed to take a deep breath. It
Yeah,
did
yeah.
feel like maybe it was a slight tactical pause where he's like, okay, what do I need to do? He looked at his pop and said, okay, I have 160 vills. Let's toss a few away here, and that changed the game. So
Yeah, I mean, how tired are you if you're Dark right now? Oh my god, that game must have been completely exhausting. Like,
well, Dark is normally I think I would be pretty exhausted after that one. But from what I know about Dark, he's playing like 8 to 10 hour days every day. So he plays a
okay, he's
lot.
probably used to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that he's like a young MBL and Hera. They used to do the same way back in the day. So,
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
all right.
Do you
So
mind if I take a quick 1 minute bathroom break?
yeah, do that. Take your time. No rush there,
Okay,
man.
cool.
And good time for him to take a break because I've missed so many subs today. Chat, thank you. Christ, thank you for the 20 gifted. I am blown away by the viewership, considering this is just a decider, but I'm also blown away by the support. So, guys, you've been incredible. The main event prize pool is updating live, and that is based on the amount of subs the channel has, too. So, obviously, the channel does not have 67,000 subs, but the prize pool started at 60K with Microsoft. So, appreciate you all, whether it's a Prime sub here or there, a gifted sub or a resub, whatever. Of course, there's also many people. I saw some comments saying they were new from YouTube today. I forget your names, but welcome in new people from YouTube. Glad you could make it. And we have 2 more best of 7s after this one when this eventually ends. The next best of 7 is between Hart and Barles, and I will have Leary, crazy player. He's going to be joining the co-cast. And then the final set of the day will be ACCM versus Daniel, and I will have Hera here to co-cast. So we got some big names joining. Not as big as Hallis, of course, but that's on the cards for today. The next home maps for BacT are Bay, Slopes, Gold Rush, Ginger Mountain. Thank you. 50 people, at least 50 people. Even if you didn't receive it, just say thanks. Just say, definitely evil, thank you. Just the qualifier. Anyways, don't know if I can say much more than that. Yeah, it's been wild, man. It actually feels like main event, these deciders. So, shoot, what was I gonna do? Damn, son. Apparently, when Hallis goes to the bathroom, this stream receives a lot of gifted subs. So I think Hallis should drink more water. Damn, son. Thank you for 50 gifted subs. What is happening right now? What is happening? Also, you're not forgotten, Tech T and Burget90 for the Twitch Prime subs. Whew. This is what I expect. BacT, I don't think he's going to be too stressed out as far as the maps are concerned here. I think, honestly, it would be wise for him to go for something other than Bay because Dark has some good civilizations for Bay. So maybe we see Gold Rush. Maybe Gold Rush, maybe Tatars. I could see if it is Bay, maybe going for Persians. On Slopes, I could see Tatars working out well, and maybe Gold Rush Berbers. Teutons, not a civ that I would expect to see. Sorry to Teuton lovers out there. But I don't think we'll see Teutons in the remaining games. It just doesn't fit quite as well. I'm loving all the Dark fanboys right now, rooting on the underdog, who shouldn't have even been here in the best of 7, but he made it. Cobra says, I was there for Hidden Cup 1. This one feels like the World Cup. Wow. Well, it's been crazy so far. Hallis, I think I heard you come back.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
You need to drink more water, man. The stream gets a lot of support when you step away, I guess, when I can pay attention to viewers. So.
I see how it is. I will go back to muting.
yeah, just I'll kick you out. No, I'm kidding. I was just speculating a little bit here on the maps. The Teutons one, the only spot that we felt like that would fit was going to be on Hideout. So I kind of doubt we'll see Teutons in the next couple games.
Yeah, it leaves him with Berbers, Tatars, and Persians. Well, this is actually kind of tricky for BacT, actually, because if he picks Slopes, you would assume he's going to pick Tatars. I think.
Against Indians, and I would prefer Indians.
Yeah, I'd much prefer Indians there. And then Bay, oh, I guess you're gonna pick Persians on Bay.
against
Um,
Japanese, which I think Japanese are also great.
yeah, Japanese are also great. And then what's the last one? Gold Rush. And I'm not too sold on Berbers on Gold Rush, to be honest with you. Um, I think they have really good potential of taking map control in the mid game. But I feel like whenever I play Gold Rush, I think the thing I'm worried about is, like ARBs and Trebs.
Yeah.
And anything that is really good at pushing one location. And I don't think Berbers really have that, to be honest. I don't know what you think.
Well, Celts can be pretty good against Berbers there, just going
Yeah,
Pikeman
yeah, yeah.
Siege. So imagine if Dark would have gotten that island victory, we'd be looking at a 2-2, and I would honestly like Dark Civilizations more long term. So
Yeah, I completely agree. I think all of like Dark Civilizations are really good against BacT's ones. If they get played in the way we're thinking they're gonna get played.
sure. Yeah. So it seems unlikely because it's a 3-1 scoreline, but based on the civilizations, and of course, Hallis and I, top tier strategists, right? We think that Dark might have the slight edge with each civilization going into the next game. That said, I'm completely surprised. We actually see Malay for Dark on slopes. It will be Malay against Tatars, not Indians. What in the world was Dark thinking
What
here?
is? Did he pick the wrong civ? What?
I mean, it's not very close in the alphabetical order, so I think that he's probably gone Malay intentionally. Do you think that this is a prepared strategy?
I have no idea. Do you have the lobby code, by the way?
I don't, but Overlay Guy can maybe send it to you, or you can. Robo's got you. I'm sure someone's got you. They are
Okay,
actually in
okay.
the game, so I'm gonna speed up on my end here, and
Yeah, yeah.
you'll have to catch up to speed. But BacT playing as the Tatars, and it is live, and we were a little bit behind with no spec delay, so we're just speeding up here. Dark has picked Malay, a civ that advances 66% faster to the next age. And he's got to be careful here. BacT's run forward to lame. They're both actually going forward with their scouts to try and maybe steal some sheep or steal some boars. BacT is a big lamer. And on this map, it's really hard to say what the best strategy is. We've seen Britons be picked, and people will play very passive and play for archers and walls in the middle. We've seen Indians and Mongols and Magyars be picked to take resources on the sides and go for a lot of scouts and aggression. There's 1,000 food. I think the exact number is 960 or 940 on each side, and there's huge reward there, but it's high risk with that reward. Hallis, were you able to find the game?
Oh yeah, I'm in the game. Yeah.
All right, cool stuff. So yeah, I just never would have seen Malay picked here, mainly because Indians has been a common pick in a lot of these games, and Indians was available for Dark. So
Yeah, is this a mind game? I'm not too sure because, as I was saying, like again, like Tatters, their halves are like really bad,
yeah,
and they don't get R Blaster, right? So like all they can really do is like cav archers and camels, and like Indians, that is what Indians want to be doing. They want to be building camels against cav archers with the extra pierce armor. Um, so it's a really difficult. He must have some kind of a strategy prepared. Do
he
you think
has
like,
to.
yeah, like I just can't see why you'd pick melee otherwise.
I mean, it's not a bad archer civ. Maybe he just felt more comfortable going into archers here. Um, the one thing that's tricky with Malay is if you're able to delay, as I say with them, advancing faster to the next age is huge. So you could go for an early drush and then have a sick fast feudal time behind it with a lot of villagers. So as Dark weakens the board with the TC, finishes it off with the villagers, which he failed to do correctly in game number 1. I think we're going to see a pre-mill drush into, we'll see, from Dark.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh, big
Yeah.
moment here. Back delays the barracks. And also could get the villager kill, possibly. Now, he's not going to, but that means that Dark has to send villagers out to finish that, and BacT now knows what the strategy will be.
Yeah, and BacT has already built the barracks as well, so I think they were both going for the same strategy.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of an even matchup in I guess if they both drush. I think. Do you think we'll see fast castle, or is this just going to be drush into feudal age?
BacT feels like a player who would go drush fast castle. He loves his walls. He's not, I mean, with the exception of the previous game, he's not really the type to go forward too much nowadays. So I do feel like BacT is probably the type to just send the militia forward. He's already going to have the lead in the numbers there and just feel comfortable that way. But yeah, I think our opinion is pretty similar when it comes to melee. I would love to see him have a planned strategy and love to see it work. But if it doesn't work, then there's going to be big questions over picking melee when Indians have been proven to be pretty dominant. Or at least one of the top like, 5, 8 civilizations, something like that on this map.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the reason that I would think Indians are good is literally just because of the matchup against Tatars.
Yeah, yep.
Otherwise, like maybe I could see if it was like, for example, if BacT had Celts and he thought he was gonna pick Celts on slopes, then obviously you don't want to sip like Indians, or like if you had mines, then yeah, sure, I understand. But because BacT only really had Tatars for this map, and Berbers and maybe Persians, I mean those civs Indians still fine with, right? So you have to think this is something prepared, something that the Dark has thought about. So it'd be really interesting to see like how he kind of plays this. And we are seeing BacT wall, by the way, so I think you are right that he will go for a fast castle.
Yeah, and no risk. Yeah, I mean, do you want to take massive risk either when you're ahead? Maybe he also doesn't want to show, well, I guess I can't say he doesn't want to show his strategies because we won't know who he is in the main event. Like, maybe in the main event he's going to send villagers to all corners. I don't know, but then we wouldn't know it's backed. So that's Hidden Cup. But I would really like to see Dark right now, as BacT actually made 4 militia. What the? That's crazy. So he doesn't have Loom right now. But I would really like to see Dark, since he knows that the Drush is to the north, to send villagers over to mill the left side. I wish more players would do that, because it's not like the enemy is going to head over there. They're clearly going for your wood line right now. Yeah, nice
this is about to get really messy. Oh, never mind. Dark left that villager alone.
Oh no, that's huge. That villager not only could have been killed by the scout because the villager doesn't have Loom, but the militia could have got in.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the risk when you move out with the Drush, man. Is you get punished like this if you don't get in.
Yeah. And now the 4 militia will pay off, and that should be a villager down. The Dark doesn't really have the food to ever go feudal here. Nice work there from back to block and doink that villager down. And yeah, now...
this is brutal, man. It's so rough. Like his eco is going to be so delayed from this, especially with Malay, who already have like a fragile time of it anyway because it advanced so quickly.
Yep. This is a spot where the correct play looks very weird. Don't make that far.
Oh.
Does he want the straggler tree still? Is that the thing? What is that? Dark,
I mean, you can still build it 1 tower down.
All right, a bit of a T90 farm. Though I would argue that I would never place one that poorly nowadays. But yeah, he's quick walling and he's just forced to bring the militia back. But I think this is honestly a spot with Malay where you have to go with like, I want to say like 13 or 14 Dark Age farms and click up what feels very late if you want to have a good FC time. It's really awkward to get your builds down with this civilization because they advance so quickly.
Yeah, luckily, I mean, Malay is a civ where if you do have a sloppy Dark Age, like, you can be bailed out by your civ.
Yeah, it's true.
I think BacT could have done more with this Josh. I can't help but feeling like he didn't achieve as much as maybe he could have done.
Hey, just gave up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's kind of weird. Like, against most players that I play, they would have killed, I think, 2 villagers of me at least. Just because, like, he should be on wood lines on the gold, right? Like, he still has he has the scout as well, so like he can always take a fight against Dark's militia. But I guess he's content to just bash a house, I guess.
Yeah, it is weird to me how he ran away. Like, at the very least, force the repairs to be close to the resources that Dark is taking. And I actually think Dark is doing this well here as far as his build's concerned. He's staying in Dark Age because he knows if he would have clicked earlier that the time wouldn't make a lot of sense. So let's see what he can pull off here. I mean, the farms, I don't think it's ideal to make 13 Dark Age farms, but that's going to give him a ton of food. And if you look at BacT's position, he's going to arrive in feudal with just about the resources to click up. I think the FC times could maybe be somewhat similar.
Yeah, definitely. And if you can, like, sort your economy out, I mean, you do just gain, like, what, 4 villagers? I mean, he lost a villager, right? So he should be up just 3 villagers.
Yep.
So Melee are a good save in that regard. The problem is, again, is though, the Melee, that's kind of their only bonus, right? Like,
yeah.
Especially on land maps.
Yeah, water maps, it feels like at least the way, you know, where players are playing competitively is they're prioritized more on water maps, can utilize that bonus, and then they're a little vanilla when it comes to land options. I do see that BacT is on the way to Castle Age, also using his 3 HP scout to scout the map right now, which I'd love to see. And did Dark lose his scout?
Yeah, he lost it to the town center when
Oh,
when he
yeah.
got in. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well. Again, looking at the uptimes, you see the archery range. You now see the blacksmith for Dark. Dark will actually be able to click up and arguably have a... It might even be faster if he can get up right now than the enemy. But I do still feel like the 2 ranges for BacT looking very clean. Everything looks perfect. He didn't take losses. He could place his lumber camps where he wanted. It's just what you'd want to be at if you're in BacT's position.
Yeah, I mean, Dark also only has 1 range, right? So it's like he's gonna be outmassed, and he's not gonna have thumb ring. So
True, true. Yep.
it's gonna be pretty difficult to hold this.
Yep, and Tatars would do more damage on top of the hill. Small thing here, and I don't know if Dark's even scouted that side, but he has scouted it. I would almost like to see him send his militia to kill the deer on the right side of backspace, just in case BacT wants to go out there later on, which you sometimes see. I mean, it gets more value from the militia than you'd otherwise get, let's put it that way.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm kind of surprised that no one took the outer resources, but I can kind of understand it as well. It is very risky.
Yeah.
But yeah,
in BacT's case, I understand it. In Dark's case, when he was bringing his defensive drush home, I would have liked to have seen him, send 4 villagers out there, and then maybe he wouldn't have had to siege so many farms. But he's going to be in Castle Age at almost the same time here, so both in Castle Age, and that is the power of the melee. He saved himself with his Civ.
He did save himself, but again, I'm still really worried from like these crossbows. They're gonna always be able to micro back to that hill. It's gonna be how do you hold this if you're Dark?
Well, is this a situation where maybe you hope that BacT makes a bit of a mistake because you don't have a scout? It's not like you could see what's gonna happen. Here comes BacT, and BacT is the king at sneaking armies. He actually doesn't have Bodkin yet. He doesn't have the eco for that. But he kills 1 vill, and Dark has to react, and Dark will lose another villager. That's 3 villagers down in this game. But with melee, actually ahead in vills, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, is that just inexperience from Dark? I mean, moving out there is extremely risky. I mean, especially when you have exposed resources, especially on this map. He has no vision really, and especially against Hatters when they're gonna have probably more numbers than you just because of the way the melee kind of works with the uptimes. I just think, yeah.
I think it's tough because his other wood line's garbage right now. This is what happens when you keep yourself in the middle. Like for BacT, it's not an issue because BacT has had the control. But I think there, as BacT is now getting loom, it's a good time, I guess. I would say just make an outpost. It's not like you're going to need the stone for 3 TCs right away. Making an outpost in that wood line is huge to be able to see that army a bit faster. And for now, he's just going to wait at home, which I can't disagree with. He's going to try and get his mass together. And maybe BacT, who's trying to split armies, will get caught out with one of them, and it can give Dark an opportunity to counterattack.
Yeah, I mean, what is really interesting is BacT is building skirmishes right now. So I think BacT is preparing for an elite skirm switch. Which is not very meta, I don't think, at least not in this situation.
Economically, it feels a little weird because it's pretty expensive to make the skirms, which cost food and wood. Like here, have an outpost, Dark. Have an outpost. Or, okay, he got town watched. He noticed it. So I've been proven wrong. But yeah, skirms coming in here is, if this was Hera or Leary, my next 2 co-casters, I think they would just stick with crossbows, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay, another point as well is that, okay, Dark has every upgrade in the blacksmith, and BacT has +1, and he's still not chasing this army or engaging it. It's so odd that he should be able to click on these units and see, oh, well, if I just run and attack them, I win the fight, right? Maybe he's worried about the hill, but this game to me, I don't know if you feel the same. It screams like either like lack of experience in games like this, or lack of confidence really, because it kind of feels like he doesn't really have a clear idea of how he wanted to address like the early cast stage period of the game.
Probably lack of confidence and lack of experience, and it makes sense when he's such a young player. And Hellas, you know this, having played in a few events and whatnot. Even if it's just a qualifier, there's no substitute for actual tournament experience, right? No amount of ranked games or training games is going to give you the feel that an actual tournament gives you. So I think that this is a big moment for Dark's career, win or lose in this best of 7, having made it this far. But I mean, look at BacT. He brings in the skirms now, and now he should be able to get these kills. And for Dark, unfortunately, actually he could, in theory, take out some of these skirms.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have defense, and they don't have Bodkin either, and Dark has ballistics, and his micro has been impeccable there.
Yeah, seriously, look at this. Oh my god, Dark. Take it easy, man. Oh my goodness, look at this. Yeah, I mean, he's done a good job, and he also has not lost too many villagers. Concern for me is BacT is on 2 town centers, but this is the importance of having the blacksmith upgrades and the university upgrades. And Dark, what a nerd, man! He's actually he could win this fight. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean the problem, as you said, is economic, right? I mean, BacT is in a great position economically. Like he's got solid wood control, and he's building a TC on the left hand side. Um, if you are Dark here, like when you get this army lead from this incredible micro, like what do you do with it? How do you like capitalize?
Yeah, I think I mean this is again incredible play. He's got to clear up the army on the other side, which he's also doing, and then you just counter. You counter and then you TC Hallis. He's actually done a really. Actually, I take it back. I thought he had other eco upgrades, but I think you've got to make sure that when you're on 1 TC, it's a healthy 1 TC with your eco upgrades behind it. So get those eco upgrades, and then after taking that control, add your town centers. BacT is now, and he's kind of done this already with the skirmisher choice. BacT is going to play very defensive from here and just try and boom it out. And he does have a villager lead now, so it's definitely on Dark to push. And on the right side, he's got skirms to micro against now, and he's still trying that. So this will be a more difficult fight because Ballistics is in for BacT, and then on the left side, he's adding the TC. I like the TC.
Yeah, and Dark's also building his own TC as well. I think this is definitely BacT's now going for cab archers. Again, I'm really not sure about the cab archer choice.
This feels weird because he doesn't have control. To mix in CA right now is a little, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like he doesn't even have Bodkin, for example. Like going for cab archers now is a little bit odd.
Is this? Do you think that he forgot that about Bodkin? Because this is at a point where he either can't afford it because he's producing villagers out of 3 town centers, or he genuinely does not know that he has not clicked that.
I think he might not know that he didn't get Bodkin, but the thing is, like, he should be getting +2 defense on the skirmishes anyway, because it's such an important upgrade that, like, there's not really any excuse for not having it, because, like, again, you want that +2 defense as soon as you can, because then the archers only do 1 damage, right?
Yeah, and you're seeing right here, I mean, Crossbowman, again, taking a pretty decent fight against them, and here we've got a Mangonel, but the Mangonel is just kind of there, and actually gets good value before it goes down. Can he get another shot off here, Dark? That's actually really good, considering, because he took out a few cav archers, and he took out a few skirmishers. And he's taking out a villager, and he's defending at home. So Dark is still in this game.
I think it's what honestly, this game is very okay. BacT is now finally getting Bodkin. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think if Dark just went a bit more aggressive there, like again, he had no Bodkin and no +2 defense, so he can still fight these skirms. And if he gets on this wood on the right hand side, and maybe harasses the farm on the left, like he could get some serious damage in. The question is now though, like, this is a pretty even game right here. So what is the game plan with melee? Just hold for Imperial Age, maybe?
I think if you go a mix of Skirm and Arb, it can do really well against the Tars. So yeah, maybe hold to the Imperial Age. He's mixing in his own elite Skirm now, which I like. And he has armor, which BacT does not. And he's also maybe tempted to come forward with more siege as I see a Mangonel running forward. So Dark, he's not going away quietly. And remember, even if you're a little behind to the Imp, you can always just go whoop and just zoom up with melee. And here BacT is fighting on top of the hill, which he'll like his Tatars, but I think BacT is shown a few times today in this best of 7 that the strategy's not always there.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, the thing with melee is that they will have the timing in early Imp when they get Arbluster. But then Tatars should be better in post-Imp with the upgraded Hussars. But it feels like I just don't really like how BacT's really playing this. Like, it felt like he could have played this much smoother if he just got +2 defense and Bodkin and, you know.
Just the order of things, like having Skirms, Cav Archers, 3 TCs is eventually a nice goal. But the order in which he did it really hurt himself here. My concern with Dark is, can he kill enough as here he comes? As there's 3 ranges here for BacT and a Siege Workshop at home, so it's kind of a tough area to be in. And then also, can he get his eco right? Because he still doesn't have Horse Collar, he still doesn't have the Wood upgrade, and he's still on 2 TCs. And there's also a really annoying counterattack coming in for BacT. So, feels like, I'm with you. BacT could have definitely been more convincing, and if he makes it to the main event, will have to be. But at the same time, Dark's aggression is really, it's nice to see aggression paying off, you know, and the military and the KD all shows that.
Yeah, Dark has definitely played really impressively, because I was a bit skeptical, like, early cast stage, it kind of felt like he wasn't really that sure of what he wanted to do. But then he had that amazing bit of micro, and I think he just grew with confidence from that.
Oh my
and
god, the Mangonel, dude! The Mangonel just hit BacT twice there. Yeah, a lot of confidence indeed. I would love to see another Siege Workshop forward. He's got 3 Mangonels on the hill. If he had another Siege Workshop for reinforcements, would be sick. Micro battle and what? How did that happen there? And oh no! It's all gone wrong!
Yeah, that's a disaster. And if you look in his economy as well, there's 3 cavalry archers from BacT.
Oh god, dude. Oh, it was going so right, and then BacT just held on. So typical, you know, for someone who's considered to be top 10, top 16, like so typical to just hold on barely and get away with it. I'm so annoyed for Dark right now because oh my god, and then BacT kills 2 Mangonels. Like we doubt him, and then he gets away with the greed with these town centers. Typical, man. BacT is like, how dare you doubt me, man? Come on, I'm lying. Get out of here with this Dark hype. Dang, dude.
Yeah, these games can turn so quickly. Like one bad decision, one bit of sloppy micro, and that's it. You're dead.
Yep.
Well, maybe not dead, but you're in a very difficult position, right?
Yeah. That's both the beauty and frustrating thing about Age of Empires. I think it's why a lot of people prefer to watch, because when they get to a certain level of understanding, they just realize like there's so many small things I have to do, and it's hard to do everything right. But it's also like what makes Age of Empires is just such a beautiful game, because you could also be the biggest noob with no hotkeys, and it's just so relaxing and peaceful, and there's just so much to find out too. And even at the high level, like we've seen melee on this map. Not saying it's necessarily going to work here, but even at the high level, we're seeing varying strategies and things all the time. So very happy with it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really tricky for Dark now because he's just lost his his entire army, right?
Yep. Yeah, TC will go up. That's an awkward TC, and to be honest, the starting gold piles kind of sucks for him. But at least he secures it there. Here comes BacT on the left just to see if Dark is over here, and he's just gonna camp that farm. And that's just a small thing that's perfect, because a unit actually has to go over there to deal with that now, because it's not close enough to the town center. BacT's got to be careful. Oh, and another one?
Another one. Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Yeah, 2 big shots there. And also, if you're looking at the resources, it kind of looks like Dark is flirting with the idea of going Imperial.
Well, he's got like 15 villagers queued, so when he cancels those, the question is, what does he do with it? Like, he doesn't have enough stone for a castle, and it looks like BacT's got some ideas, T90, if you look at the left-hand side.
Well, the difference here is that Dark, as he sees the villagers, and will probably know what this means. Dark is clicked up to the Imperial Age, but he doesn't have stone right now. So he cannot make a castle defensively or offensively at all. And BacT, it seems comfortable to just stay in Castle Age a bit longer, to take more of the control before he clicks up. And I actually think that's a great play against melee. Because if you try and sit back, then they can punish you with the faster imp. Here, he's piling on the pressure, and even if Dark makes it to imp, he has no answer to a castle on his face.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that is actually frustrating me a little bit is that BacT still doesn't have +2 defense on his range units.
It's only like the 4th time you brought that up here.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make sense at the moment, but I mean, maybe he's focusing on other things right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the issue here for Dark, though, is that he obviously lost that army, right? So he's not really, like, he doesn't have that massive 30 Arblasters that makes him pretty scary.
Wow, that was such sick micro from BacT there, too. Using Cav Archers and a few Keshiks to take out the siege, would drop the castle, he takes out the Scorpions. At one point, it was 40 kills, 10 deaths for Dark. And now if you look at that KD, it's pretty much even. And BacT has been able to have the stronger economy behind this with some castles for map control. I see Dark now adding barracks and ranges, so I think he's maybe thinking Halberdier, as he's worried about Keshik switch or Lightcalf switch. I can't say that's bad. I think Halb and Arbalest is good, but he just made it to imp with next to no military, which is a big problem.
No, I actually disagree. I think it's bad. Because, because, again, at this point, his only chance was this like early imp
with
snowball.
Yep.
Yeah, with Arbs. And the only thing that he should be focusing on now is getting 30 Arbalesters, and then you add the Halbs. But like, because kind of doing this kind of like tech switch that takes a long time. No way he's gonna be able to take the control back of the game
Yeah.
By the time he gets Halberdier out, right?
Especially against castles, right?
Yeah.
Especially
You
against
want
castles.
yeah.
So I
Like
think
you want to get chemistry first, right?
I think another thing that he could have maybe done a better job at, as he's trying to TC the other side, is expanding to that side. Like BacT he's at castles on both sides now. If you look at the mini map, I guess that TC goes up, but he's really put himself in this position where he's stuck back here. But to be honest, I think it all has resulted from that big loss after BacT's defense with the Mangonels, because everything was looking fine with his numbers. Everything was looking fine with his position up until that point.
Yeah, can you imagine if he had like those 20 Arbaluses at home
man.
instead of it's a different game, isn't it?
He's got 20% of his military currently are militia, and they're patrolling by the gold. So that's not a great sign for him.
Yeah, and
hey,
BacT's
+2 defense, Hallis. There you go.
Oh wow, there we go. Finally, 40 minutes into the game, perfect. Yeah, this is looking rough, T90. I think. I don't know if you can see a way, but I'm struggling to see where Dark can.
Yeah, BacT has shown his class today. I think he also might have shown that he's a little iffy on strats here or there. He looked pretty weak on islands, and we think Dark could have taken that game.
Yep.
The Mongols pick on Hideout was a little weird, but it's also hard. Like, I asked you before we casted together what you thought of the series, and you said that, you know, Dark is training hard and he's a talented young player, but BacT will show his class, is I think your words. And we've seen that today. It's just BacT is just a great player. Now, if he wins this game, he moves on to the main event of Hidden Cup, where he has been 2 previous times. Hidden Cup 2 and Hidden Cup 3, he lost in round 1. So the lack of strategy and maybe the weakness is tough against the top 16, but against everyone else, it's just like, it's just crazy what he's able to accomplish.
Well, I think he's shown, right? Mechanically, he's incredibly gifted. Like, yeah, it's very hard to reach his level. But if you can reach his level, again, he's had some kind of questionable civ picks, right?
Yeah.
And like we were saying, if Dark had managed to win Islands, which I think, you know, maybe with someone with a little bit more experience, like, you know, some of the real quality players, like, they would probably be able to win the Islands game. Like, his draft could have really gone bad with him if Dark had picked the right civs.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But for BacT, it looks like he's about to return to another Hidden Cup, and that means at worst, based on the prize pool we're looking at right now, BacT has just earned himself $2,000 with this series. So I think that at BacT, he's also maybe learned a lot of lessons too. Like, he was just able to get by with some of his wins. And so he'll realize that against the big names that he's going to have to step it up. But either way, BacT, who's been a big name in our community for many years, is back to the Hidden Cup. And Dark will have to try again next year. But my respect goes out to Dark, because he really did play good today against a player who's just superior mechanically. And I think, I mean, just considering the amount of time he's playing and the fact that he's 16 years old, if he keeps at it, it wouldn't be too crazy to, you know, to see him maybe someday be amongst the top 20, top 25, if he can make some big improvements, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think today, BacT definitely, I know we were a bit critical of some of his civ choices, but if you look at how he played in the games, he played really well today. Like, the only times where, like, it kind of felt like BacT was like playing maybe a little bit questioning was maybe Islands, and that was mainly due to civs, right? But like, I think today, BacT really showed his quality. I think you're right about Dark as well. And again, this is like his kind of one of his first major tournaments, right? Like, he's done incredibly well just to get here.
Yeah.
And he's only 16, right? So I think if he keeps playing, if he keeps grinding, I think we'll definitely see more of him in the future.
He won against, so when I did my predictions, I had the 20th or so seed player named Fish, who's also from Vietnam, kind of an older player who just climbed up the rankings real quick before Hidden Cup. I had him beating Dark, then beating Madri or Overtaken, and then making it here. I thought this was going to be BacT, which is almost a sure thing in my eyes, because he didn't lose a game before this set, and then Fish. But Dark was able to beat Fish 3-2, and then he was able to beat Overtaken 3-1 to make it here. So yeah, I didn't even have him in this set. So he deserves a lot of respect for that. And I'm excited to see BacT move on to the main event. He's got a little bit of redemption to go for, I feel. And if I recall, I think Hidden Cup 2, we of course didn't know during the event, and it was revealed after. He lost to Tim 3-1, and then lost to MBL and Hidden Cup 3-0. But I think we also all know MBL's a beast, so wouldn't be too disappointed losing to him in a set. All right,
Yeah,
Hallis.
definitely.
Well,
Okay.
thank you so much for joining today, man. It was great having you back. We have to do this again, and
Yeah, it was great fun. Thank
I
you so
hope
much
you'll
for inviting
be
me.
able to tune in for some of the future sets. Maybe you gave your thoughts on them. Do you have
Yeah, of
thoughts
course.
on the last set of the day?
Uh, yes. Last set. I mean, not any striking out to me. It's hard against bowls, right?
Okay, so yeah, I really should slow down a little bit here.
Oh, you
um,
talking about Daniel against Say My Name?
yeah, Daniel and ACCM actually is the final set of the day, and Hart vs. Barrels is coming up next.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't have that much to say about that matchup. I think it hopefully will be close. I think ACM is obviously the clear favorite, but you know, Danny boy is he's really good. He's a quality player. I mean, I hope for some close games. I'm personally rooting for Danny because he's a friend of mine, so I won't I won't pass on any more biased commentary. But yeah, it should be a great series.
All right, sweet stuff, man. Well, everyone's going to salute you in chat, man. Guys, check him out with the co-caster command. Hallis, good luck in your grind as well. Maybe we'll see you in Dark's position or something. Maybe next Hidden Cup qualifier. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, bro. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
All right, chat. Please salute him and say thanks. It was a great co-cast today. I don't know what the situation is as far as interviews go. I know that BacT has certainly done interviews in the past. I'm gonna just hear from Robo, hear what Robo has to say. And Robo says it doesn't look like there's going to be an interview. Gotcha. Okay, so interview will not work out for BacT, and BacT has not, I guess, responded to Robo. Gotcha. Yeah, fair enough. Well, BacT is part of the main event, and guys, we do actually have a scene for this today. Check it out. This spoils what happened yesterday. Sorry, but not sorry, because we do a 24-hour spoiler rule here. So we move on pretty quick. I know that you guys probably don't have the time to watch all the content, but we've got the invited players from Hidden Cup 3 on the right side. They have been in for some time since this event has been announced. The Viper, Hera, Tato, Dogao, Leary, Doubt, Mr. Yo, and MBL. Yesterday, Jordan was able to qualify. Velez was able to qualify. That set was insane. It was almost 4 hours. And then just now, we had BacT qualify, and we will have many more qualify over the next 48 hours.